Well, hello and welcome to the FIFA Global Series EA Sports Cup, where we've already had 4 weeks of amazing FIFA action. And tonight, I can feel the nerves as we reach the business end of the competition. And that is because behind this door, we have the players, and only 2 out of the 5 of these teams will be reaching those finals in January. The tension in there is pretty high, so let's see who can handle the pressure.
The first rounds are done and dusted, and the group of death is back. After a strong outing, Riders and Ducks Gaming sit atop the table and look to tighten their grip on qualification. Atlanta United showed their offensive prowess, but poor defence has left them sitting in the middle of the pack. And in an attempt to claw their way back from the bottom, Team Falcons and Fnatic will be on all-out attack tonight. It's time to rise to the challenge and avoid elimination here at the EA Sports Cup.
Yes, we are back, and it is crunch time. I cannot believe we are saying goodbye to 3 teams. We're saying hello to this man. Mike Lavelle, of course, is back with us as always. Mike, we're talking about Group C again, and can you believe the likes of Fnatic and Falcons are sitting at the bottom of the table, and Movistar Riders are at the top, which obviously is expected.
I don't know if your energy's in the right place. I'm just throwing it out there.
Where do you want it to be?
That's what I need right now. We're talking about Fnatic, Falcons, neither of them qualifying. No Msdossary, no Tekkz in action. Movistar Riders looking confident as ever. Current world champions holding that same type of energy and confidence. If you talk to them, chest is out.
Well, I think the chest should be out, because let's have a look and see exactly what tonight has in store in terms of where these teams sit at the moment. Like we mentioned, Movistar Riders, they're sitting at the top. Look at the side there, the green indicates they are currently the teams to go through to the final. So Riders 7, Ducks Gaming did the job, didn't they, 4 weeks ago in 6 points. Atlanta 5, Fnatic and Falcons just propping up the bottom of the table there, Mike.
And we should mention, there's only a 3-point difference between 1st to 5th right now. Anything can happen today. Everybody's still in the running. But I'd rather be sitting towards the top than sitting at the bottom, because there's a lot of pressure that's on display.
Well, you're talking about the pressure. I'm not sure the players are feeling the pressure. If you have a look at how they're sitting there, you've got Tekkz just having a little bit of a joke with Diogo, his teammate. They don't look too stressed considering where they're sitting. And then obviously Paulo, Neto and his teammate, they're looking happy. These guys, I've already spoken to Ducks, and I mean, Gravison is here, their teammate, and he says they are ready for tonight. And then the guys who are sitting pretty at the top, the Movistar Riders, Diogo and Andoni there. I mean, these 2 are the ones that look worried. Do they look worried? Then maybe they do, Mike Lavelle.
Maybe more serious, a little more intense.
That was Falcons.
Everyone's had more time with the game now.
This possibly is why they look worried. Look who they have then in round 1. They have Ducks Gaming. That's the first fixture up that you'll be focused on. Then round 2, it's a big one as well. Fnatic are up against Atlanta. Every single matchup here is important. They need the points. And then I guess we have to just go down to round 5, and you got the top of the table there, Riders taking on 4th place as it stands, Fnatic. Obviously, that could all change, couldn't it, after tonight, because there is so much up at stake, or up for stake, should I say. Let's have a look then at the rules, because if you have been here for the last 4 weeks, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. Remember, we're now on the 2nd round of this double round robin, and the points are as they have been throughout. So 3 for a win, 1 for the draw, 0 for a loss. And again, reiterating, only 2 teams out of the 5 will go through to those knockouts.
That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of weight on the competitor's shoulders, and every round, if you don't get the result that you need, you can see the competition closing that gap or a separation being created.
Yeah, exactly. And we mentioned there's these draws. We don't want to draw, though, do we, at the end of these 5 rounds? Because if there is a draw for those top 2 teams, then this will come into play. It's the tiebreaker format. We'll obviously bring you up to speed with exactly what it all means when it happens. But basically, it's head-to-head first, then goals scored, and then goal So you've got the king of the jungle there, Msdossary, at the bottom of the table.
Well, it's difficult to say because all these teams are so closely knit. Looking down ago what happened. All details, the particular, the proper balance, teamwork, who else, and we saw a lot.
Falcons won there, so they got 4 points in the end, and that. So fixtures, aren't you? If you are Falcons, going, I know I'm Ducks. Is that how you come into this?
Out there, I also
love
spent
this.
time. He's been training, he's focused, he's built, he knows what it's. But a lot of the competitors. You're going to claim. No, 7 on top.
7 on top.
Today.
Well, if anyone can do it on the table, are the team at the moment the win on board.
Thank you so much, Rachel and Mike. Yes, what a huge night we have here to what's going through all of our competitors. First up, everyone knows who they are. They're clinging on to survival here in Group C, hoping to make it through. Representing Fnatic, it's Tekkz and Diogo. Guys, we don't normally do that with you. Coming out first right here, I said they're clinging on to Group C. There's going to be plenty of people in the Twitch chat to go through. Some that don't want you to go through and maybe want that pressure to you.
I don't really care if people want us to go through or not. It's just about us playing our game. So
Result tonight where we see yourselves and Team Falcons, aka Goatmoh, and Msdossary not go
through. Me and Msdossary were the 2 best ever, and I'm hoping we're both in knockouts because it's just.
It is indeed. We're chatting. Great, thank you. Right, let's bring out our next team then. And now it's Paulo, Neto, and Young. Our next team currently sits. Please welcome Andoni and Tuga of Movistar Riders. Next, it's the team. And last means least, our other heavy in group contenders here is a huge break into that top 2. Please welcome Goatmoh and Msdossary, Team Falcons. Guys, wanted to catch up with you just before you head in there. A huge first game that we will be watching. The pressure is on, Msdossary, but if there's one thing we've seen over the years, you can turn it on when that pressure is indeed there.
yeah, I think obviously every game now is important. Since last time we was here, we didn't do a production point, but I think we're ready to kick off.
I just spoke to Tekkz. You would have heard it just back there. He said that he wants you both to go through. He thinks that you guys are the best and it's the best for the esport. Do you think that that fills you with confidence? Could we see yourselves and Fnatic going through tonight? You both got it all to do, but as we have explained, it is still close in the group.
Yeah, I think we are the last, but we are 3 points away from the first. So everything is close and everything can happen. Obviously now I'll have to focus on myself and my team on how we go, but I wish nothing but the best for Donovan.
So you two teamed up together. Surely, if you want one teammate, it's Msdossary, and if you want one teammate, it's Goatmoh here. How are you feeling ahead of today?
Actually, there's no pressure because my teammate is Msdossary, so he's the GOAT, so that's it.
Brilliant. I like the smile on your face just there. I'll set up. You getting closer and closer. Just on your screen, they're under off. We will find things off. We will find out our first that are going through to the next rounds. The top two will secure it. I'll throw it over to two that will talk us through the evening. Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley.
Thank you very much, Carl. And yes, there's a little bit of a different taste tonight in London because Knockout FIFA has arrived. We had 4 weeks of group play, and now we've got 4 weeks of knockout play. Myself, Brandon, and Rich will be taking you through the first game today. It could plan to be a really tasty one.
I don't know if I should be this excited to see 3 teams go home and be eliminated from the tournament, but I am absolutely buzzing to get underway with these games. 2 of the biggest names ever to grace FIFA esports, Tekkz and Msdossary, their respective teams, Falcons and Fnatic, could be eliminated from the tournament today. We'll wait and see how this pans out. As Rachel and Mike said earlier about with the different permutations away, we'll wait and see what happens, but I simply cannot wait to see who goes through at the end of play today.
And just to say as well, we do apologise for any technical difficulties you may be experiencing all around the world. We are working as hard as we can behind the scenes, a superb production team to try and get that all sorted for you for the cleanest experience, of course, on today's broadcast. But as Richard said, this is probably the most tightly contested group we are seeing here out of the 4 because, look, there's only 3 points between top and bottom right now. Msdossary, yes, didn't have a great outing with his teammate Goatmoh. I love the response from Goatmoh. No pressure for me. I'm playing with one of the best FIFA players in the world. But it could change quite instantly for them. If they go and get the same result against Ducks that they did 4 weeks ago, they're back joint and points with many of the other teams.
Yeah, if they pick up 3 points in this opening game, not only does it flip the script as such, Ducks then maybe feel a little bit downjected, feel a little bit disheartened, but then you've got an up for it, engaged, almost enthusiastic Falcons. Just simply, I know one result doesn't eliminate Falcons from the tournament, but mindset-wise, if results go against them, they could find themselves marooned at the bottom of the table, maybe 6 points adrift, maybe 5 points adrift, and then you start to look where we're going to pick up points from. We've got Fnatic in the 3rd game. Get ready for that game coming up about an hour's time. That's going to be an absolute scorcher. But you have to start the day strong if you are Falcons.
And also there will be an extra 5 or 10% in that player's area, and just in this pit now thinking, we could knock out Tekkz and Msdossary. Imagine if we're going through to knock out FIFA. Yes, there's a number of brilliant teams in this EA Sports Cup. If we can take out Tekkz and Msdossary, that is going to change quite a lot going into the knockout stage, and what a storyline that would be in the FIFA esports landscape. We are going to get our first game underway as soon as we can. Please note that Fnatic sit out of this round. They are back in action for round 2, 3, 4 and 5. But now we've got 2 games in front of our eyes. Our featured matchup will see the king of the jungle, Msdossary, and Goatmoh of Team Falcons take on Ducks game and the 2 times La Liga champion Neto and FUT Champions Cup winner Zezinho. Takes place in our focused matchup. In the backup game, we'll see Riders take on Atlanta, both playing at the exact same time, and we'll be keeping you up to date with every single step of the way. How the groups change, how the goals go in affect the group, the goal difference, the list goes on. The storyline is as simple as it sounds. Today, only 2 teams from the 5 in this group of death will make it into knockout play. So there is so much on the line.
And I was just watching there for a split second when we went into the settings. You saw me kicking back and relaxing. 2 players introduced into the squad. There's a couple of new items since last week. We've got the brand new World Cup heroes that are going to be in the team. That's Cap De Vera at left back. You probably got Yaya Torre, maybe a Voller off the bench. But also, you've seen them in the swaps, but they're available for the players to use. That was Cafu, the icon that you can get through the swaps, the World Cup sort of version of him, and also Patrick Vieira, the 90 rated Patrick Vieira. So we're not talking the prime icons, but these are the icons that are the World Cup flavouring of those specific items. They're available in swaps currently. If you get enough tokens, you can redeem them later on down the line. But for the players here today, you're starting to see a sneak peek of those items. Cafu at right back, Vieira at centre mid. Expect to see them involved.
Yeah, I just wanted to say as well, we can see everybody watching at home right now, so get yourselves involved in the conversation. One of the questions we were speaking about coming in today was, what's been your sort of standout defender for you guys at home that might not be able to afford the likes of a Maldini or that FUT hero Lucio this year coming into play? For me, Rich, Koulibaly has been a standout player in my FIFA Ultimate team. What about for yourself?
Well, I'm going to keep up with the Chelsea sort of theme. Flashback Thiago Silva, he was released earlier on in the cycle. An outstanding defender in that central sort of the heart of the defence. I give him the captain's armband as well. He gives him that extra 5% on the pitch. And yeah, huge fan of flashback Thiago Silva.
Yeah, get involved in the conversation in the chat today. Let us know your sort of standout defender on FIFA 23 so far. A lot of love for Kulabai in there as well. And I mean, if you can afford him, he certainly does the job for you too. Could be a chance early on here. For Ducks Gaming, it's taken them literally 5 in-game minutes for R9 to get cooking. Here's Zezinho and Neto up by a goal in the first 6 minutes, and they're looking to change this result because last time they played, they did lose 2 goals to Msdossary and to Goatmoh of Team Falcons.
And I'll be brutally honest, that looked very, very simple. It was a driving run from right back, Cafu getting forward, getting involved in the attack, and just a simple square pass cut back into R9. He slots it past the goalkeeper. I just saw someone in the chat, Hongmin Son, great name, say Araujo, the Barcelona centre-back.
Just got a path to glory.
He
World
did,
Cup
yeah.
item as well, which will certainly go up if Uruguay do well in the World Cup, which kicks off later on this week. Of course, FIFA Ultimate Team will also update and change as that World Cup tournament does unfold. And we're speaking of defender, that was an awful bit of defending there from Team Falcons in the first 6 minutes. There could be 2-0 down early on here. Back to R9, lovely piece of skill. Just about defended well by Msdossary there, who just keep an eye. He'll be controlling that red cursor you can see in that Team Falcons kit from left to right. His teammate Goatmoh with the yellow circle above his head. There has been another goal in the opposite game that's taking place right now. Here is that goal now, 80 minutes on the clock, and it looks like it's gone the way of the 2v2 world champions. It's a little bit scrappy, but they don't care. Movistar Riders up by a goal to 0.
A very lot scrappy, but I saw 2 off his feet. He doesn't care one bit. Just looked over my left shoulder. He's up, he's celebrating. 1 goal to the good. Riders find themselves, and I think if you're looking at the rest of this table right now, Riders winning, Ducks winning, they were the 2 top sides coming into today. Does it start to create a little bit of distance from the rest of the pack? Fnatic, Atlanta, and also Team Falcons. We're very early doors, but I'm starting to paint the picture of how this group could finish.
Well, if we can just see the standings of the group coming into play today. Obviously, Riders were top of the table. They're on 7 points. Ducks Gaming on 6. Atlanta in 3rd. Fnatic and Team Falcons 4th and 5th as they stand. That's coming into play today. But as we said, this group is so tightly contested. It's 7 points at the top and 4 points at the bottom. 1 win and a couple of defeats, a couple of draws, depending on how results go in these first couple of rounds, will shake things up in the EA Sports Cup. Remember, it's only the top 2 from this group that will go into the knockout stages.
I know we've only played 23 minutes so far. I was just about to praise Ducks on how well they've started. They could concede right here, though.
Could be a cutback available. Just about did enough there, Vieira, just hustling. Pull it off the ball.
But they've started so positively, have Team Ducks. Zezinho and Neto linking up nicely in around the box. That out ball is always on the right-hand side. You see Cafu just on the mini-map right there. He's high, he's wide, he's creating that overload on the far right-hand side.
Pele, what ball that could be. Msdossary just teased his run with Mbappe. You've got to think as well, Rich, they've come a long way. Msdossary and his teammate Goatmoh flew in from Saudi Arabia. The only team in the tournament from the Middle East that have to travel quite some distance. They will not want to go out in the group stages today. Ball over the top, could be 2. Cut back, oh, that's clever. 1 more pass. Oh, the feet was brilliant. Referee will give a penalty anyway. Virgil van Dijk goes into the book, and this is not looking like a positive start for Msdossary and his teammate Goatmoh, who looks as if he's up to save this penalty. Zezinho's over it of R9. Up steps Zezinho of R9, saved by Van der Sar, and that's a great save. Potentially, in the course of this game, Richard, a huge save that could mean so much. Building up again nicely. Brilliant feat this is from Neto with Pele. Really well defended there.
And Ducks will feel so hard done by because that was beautiful play. The little back heel to open up the space. It was a combination of Van der Sar and Vieira, and then just about keeping it from the penalty at 1-0. It looks like one-way traffic between Riders and Atlanta, the 2v2 Club World Cup champions, maintaining their tight grip at the top of the leaderboard. 2-0 up.
I believe that may have been Andoni there getting that second goal. This could be a chance. It scraps at the back, quite literally.
If in doubt.
Panic stations from Ducks, just getting the ball clear. But you're right, that would have probably been in the goals of the day package, Richard, if Ducks Gaming were to score. That was a lovely bit of build-up play from Neto and Zezinho. It's a case of just guessing where the goalkeeper movement was going to come. It was a great save and great reading from Falcons from distance off the bar. That was Goatmoh again there. Tried that Trivela shot that's been so popular.
You just can't really allow the space in around the box there as well. As soon as you get players at the rating and the quality of R9, Ruud Gullit, Kylian Mbappe's in form, and give them that opportunity on the edge of the box or even further afield with the angle of the Trivela nice, chances can come out of nowhere.
It's like your goalkeeper's sort of rooted and stuck in the ground. They can't react to it.
I've just looked over my shoulder as well. As it currently stands, Riders 10 points, Ducks Gaming on 9, third place Atlanta on 5, a 4-point buffer as it currently stands with results currently underway.
And this will put more pressure on Team Falcons as well, Richard. They'll know exactly
Tuga.
what this result will mean. Ball over the top. Is there one more pass? It was a good idea. Van der Sar gets 2 hands on it. And at half-time, Ducks could have been 2 goals up, but with a missed penalty, they only lead by 1-0 still. Half-time in this game, as we said, plenty more action to come. If you are thinking, where's Tekkz, where's Diogo? They are sitting out of this first round of fixtures. They're in action for the rest of the night. If you are a Tekkz or Diogo fan, do stay tuned.
It's about as one-way traffic as could possibly be at half-time there. It's been all Ducks Gaming, 2.2 XG. They've had more possession, they've created more, they've been on the front foot, and the team in the ascendancy, certainly. I don't know if we can get down to the players there in the booth. I just want to point out the coach of Team Falcons. It's Enzo. He's one of the best coaches in the game. But just have a look at that. Yes, you can see that correctly. He's in a 3-piece suit. He's got the blazer. He's got the trousers. He's even accompanied with a lovely green tie just to represent Team Falcons there.
Well, here's a stat for you, Richard. So far in the EA Sports Cup, Team Falcons have never scored in the first half. And that is a stat that is still living up now.
Stat. That's a great stat.
Never scored in the first half. Didn't score at all in any of the first 45s across 4 weeks ago in that opening week of the EA Sports Cup. And still, they haven't been able to find their way through in the opening half of play here. They only picked up 4 points last week. They won't need me to remind them of that. And they also won't want to look behind them because the gap is getting bigger from first to bottom. They have to even take a draw from this, Richard, to stop a team like Ducks climbing up that table and finding 9 points. They're on 6 at the moment. A win here would put them on 9.
Points are becoming very, very essential at this time in the groups as well, with Riders winning. They're just elevating themselves at the top. Great times on the Trivela. Great save.
And Msdossary there, showing exactly what he can do. Dan has enjoyed 1 or 2 of those shots on the edge of the box with that Trivela. As dangerous as ever. In it goes towards the front post. It finds Virgil van Dijk, the man who was at the error for giving away a penalty in the first half. This time becomes a hero and gets Team Falcons straight back in the tie.
What a header as well from Virgil van Dijk. He threw everything at the ball just to make sure he got a little bit of contact on it. It was that corner that's just drilled into the box. It's whipped in. And Virgil, I'd say rose, but he didn't. He stooped down to the ball.
Oh, wow, this could be a turnaround at half. Zezinho, 3 Team Falcon shirts. Has he overdone it? Oh, he went on his own.
Goatmoh.
Still not dealt with though, Richard. This is still alive, very much so. Pele, Goatmoh, second time of asking off the bar. Team Falcons just putting all the pressure on now to Ducks Gaming. And Van der Sar getting 2 hands on it just to get a breather in.
You've got to square it. You have to square it. I rate the confidence. I love the confidence to take it on your own, to try and score the goal. But you just have to knock that across the box and set Msdossary up to go 2-1 up.
And this is how it stands currently in Group C. The group of death we've called it here in the EA Sports Cup. Riders currently 2-0 up in that game against Atlanta. They're 10 points. They are riding a wave of momentum coming in from 4 weeks ago, and what a season they had last year. And that point for Team Falcons still keeps them in
Have to win.
conversation. R9 back to Pele. Msdossary, great save or not? Van der Sar wasn't quite sure there, but just about got up on the second.
And at the moment, Team Ducks just can't get out of their own half. Team Falcons pressing high up the pitch. Goatmoh had a couple of chances. Msdossary on that occasion. It very much seems, given the balance of play at the moment, the goal is coming in. It's coming for the black and green of Team Falcons.
Lovely ball, this is clever. R9 not the best of touch, but the ball was just fizzed into it. But you're absolutely right, Ducks have just been pinned in their own half. Look at this ongoing pressure. Got Vieira up there. Ball's coming in. I can assure you that's from only one team. It would have been Ducks gaming. Cafu, good idea.
It's dangerous.
Again, possession falls back again to Team Falcons. They're hunting. They need to start with the 3 points here. Mbappe, one more pass, finds R9 to Dan. Just can't do enough. R9, Goatmoh, great save, Van der Sar again.
It's an outrageous slide tackle as well to go to ground inside the box. I don't know what effect it had on him, but he's gone in. I don't think he's got any of the ball, but maybe it's disrupted the strike from R9 as well. 1-1, but I tell you what, this second half has been exquisite from Team Falcons. They've been pressing and then pressing and pressing high up the pitch, creating chances. Let's have a word with our very own Kyle Walker. He's down with Diogo right now to get his thoughts on this game.
Cheers, Richard. Yes, I am Diogo. We've just been watching both of these games here in the pit. You've just said you need a Team Falcons win. It is riding on other people's results. How difficult is that?
I hate it, honestly. I wish, like, obviously it's a group stage format, it's like that, but I wish it was just in our hands the whole time. But yeah, like I said, we need a Team Falcons win. A draw here would be nice, but yeah, when it's not in your hands, it's just so nerve-wracking.
Well, thank you so much for that. Hopefully they get it done for yourselves. You get the results you need, and then you can jump in. Richard, Brandon, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Great to hear from that team that's just sitting out. We'll be giving you as much of that as we can across the night, and it becomes slightly more tense, slightly more nervy. And while we've got a quick pause here for those at home, we've got to ask you, what do you think the score's going to be at the end of this game? Are we going to end at a 1-1? Is there one team that you think are on their way to win? I mean, Team Falcons have been dominant ever since that second half has kicked off. Give us a score prediction in the chat right now. Would love to see you guys home. Get involved in the conversation here in London at the EA Sports Cup. Our first week of knockout FIFA. There are only two teams from this group can find their way through. They scored from a corner earlier. Did Team Falcons. Will they find another one? In it goes. Defended well by Vieira. Still again very much alive as they seemingly just keep hold of this ball somehow.
A lot of love for Msdossary in the chat. A lot of 3-1s coming in as well. That seems like the scoreline at the moment. 3-1 Ducks as well.
3-1 Falcons, isn't it? I mean, you can understand why there's a lot of answers towards the Saudi esports organisation. They have been on top since the start of the second half. Here's Mbappe. Msdossary in control. Mbappe still, good feet. He tried to be patient, but so did Ducks with their defending.
Just trying to create a little bit of space inside the box there, Msdossary. Not necessarily looking for the strike with Mbappe, but the Magidi cancel, trying to just force an error out of that Ducks defence to open up the space for Goatmoh.
Last 15 minutes now. Remember, all these games are one-legged matches. No aggregate scoreline. Here with the EA Sports Cup. In the group play, it is one and done. Trying to create the perfect attack. Ducks having to double up there defensively to come out and work for them in the end. Cruyff on the pitch, he's fresh.
And I can just see, I know a lot of love for Team Falcons, but the way that this game's going and them struggling to convert that final chance, I can see potentially a Ducks not necessarily an equaliser, a Ducks late winner against the run of play.
Yeah, Torre forces that one. Final 9 minutes. As we look behind us right now, that game is still underway between Riders and Atlanta. Last time we checked in, it was 2-0 to Riders, and it still is now. There is just minutes left of that one. Riders still will be top of this Group C with 10 points next to their name.
They've been... I don't necessarily think Ducks game have been poor in this second half, but the Falcons' press has been so rampant, really. They've not allowed them to play since half-time. Even the little chipped balls that they've played into the middle of the park, Ducks game in, it's been a Falcons player within touching distance of him, touch tight, making sure that the space between the midfield and the attack is really tight and condensed. They've not been able to play those balls over the top. They've not been able to play out, really. It would seem as though Team Falcons are the form team right now in this final 9 minutes, but Ducks are dangerous on the counter.
Yeah, can confirm full-time Riders 2-0 winners against Atlanta United. That game is done and dusted in round 1. This one, there might be 1 or 2 more twists before we get to the final 90. Cruyff.
Oh!
This is Cruyff still. This is Ducks gaming. Good feed. He goes on his own. It's a good save from Van der Sar. Ginola trying to outsmart 1 or 2 players there. It was very close to finding its way through. But you're right, Rich. You said they might have had all the pressure in the world, Ducks. All they need is 1 good chance, and you saw how close they just came there. Last chance, potentially so. Eusebio, great ball, finds R9. What a tackle from Virgil van Dijk. He's been in all the headlines in this game. Eusebio, oh, it's great feed. It's an even bigger save from Van der Sar.
That cancel is so dirty inside the box, I have to say. The double back cancel, it deserved a goal.
That was neat as well. The young Spaniard who has just been the surprise package from Spain in the last few years. Very nearly giving us another surprise here in London. Cruyff, pull it, back to R9, neat again. Tries his best, but Dosari so good defensively with Virgil van Dijk, and that will do us. What a start to play here in Group C. What a game we've just had there between these two teams, but it ends as a draw at 1-1.
And I really, really think Team Falcons will look at that game and say, yes, we could have lost it right at the end, but it's 2 points dropped. They were so good in the second half. They created chances. They were dominated in the first 45 minutes. 2.2 XG going into half-time. Ducks had over Team Falcons, and I hate to sort of bring out the old stereotypes, but it really was a game of 2 halves. All Ducks in the first, all Falcons in the second.
Yeah, well, as we said, that's round 1 done and dusted. For now, let's head down to Carl Walker, who is joined by Tuga, who sits top of the table in Group C.
Brandon, Richard, thank you so much. Yes, I am. I'm joined by a very happy Tuga. Before the interview, I said, how are you feeling? He said, great, especially after that win just there. We can see the table sitting at the very top of Group C. You started the day off very positively as well, but I'm sure you're not going to get complacent. You're going to want to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, of course. We knew that the first game will be the most important game. We managed to win three really important points, but now we know that it's not enough. We need to get more points, and we are focused on the next game against Ducks to get a win.
And you know that everybody will be wanting a top 2 spot. People are watching from the sidelines. I was with Fnatic just a moment ago. You know that people are coming for you, but I'm sure you'd rather be at the top than be chasing one of those spots. What are you going to do to ensure that you don't slip up and you make sure you do secure that top 2 spot?
Yeah, we know we have to do the 3 perfect games, because if we manage to sleep, as you said, we're going out. And if we don't play our best, we don't go to the top 2. And most importantly is that we are focused. We know what we have to do. Obviously, we are on the top. The pressure is not with us, which is the most important thing. And that thing can help us to get more wins. But we are decided to win more matches and to finish top of the group.
Obviously, it's yourself and Andoni playing, but I saw at the end there, you introduced your coach into the huddle and with the hug as well. Is he just as important in the whole setup for you?
Yeah, the coach SP is really important because sometimes when we are facing a great team as Atlanta, they were pressing at some time that he told us, guys, we need to change the formation. They are pressing a lot. We can concede one, and if we concede one, probably we'll concede another one. So let's not concede any goal, and we change the formation thanks to him, and we managed to not concede any goal, which is really important for this tiebreak.
It definitely is. Right, I'll let you go and get ready for your next matchup, Tuga. Thank you so much for joining us. Rachel, Mike, it is all hotting up in Group C. I've just spoken to the guys at the top of the table. What are your thoughts about them and the ones that are chasing those top spots as well?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Well, we think 3 extra points there.
It's hot. I feel the heat.
Well, he's hot. I'm actually a little bit cool in here. We'll talk about the bottom of the table.
I
That's
felt
why.
the tension.
No, but I mean, another 3 points. Now at 10, you were predicting possibly 7 to take them through.
For all the teams, I think 7 is kind of the magic number. You need 2 wins and then something extra on top. For them, maybe 1 more win. They might be able to get through with 6 because they started the day first, of course.
And I guess you were talking about how much they've grown since 4 weeks ago. The fact that last time out, those two teams we just saw in action there, Atlanta and Mobistars, they drew. Now, actually, Mobistars found a way through, which possibly shows they've been thinking about how to overcome these opponents this time out.
Well, the game's also shifted. The way they're playing 2v2 is shifted. Remember, we're a month apart. So we saw everybody's opening gameplay. Now we're seeing a lot more adjustment, more periods being played. And I just don't doubt those guys. They're the current champs for a reason.
They are indeed those Club World Cup champions from the summer. Obviously, there was 2 games happening at the same time, and we actually have to focus our attention on the bottom of the table. It was Falcons up against Ducks, and Mike, you were watching that one closely, and you can bring some highlights with the analysis presented by PlayStation Tournaments from that matchup.
Indeed, I will. We're going to look at the opening goal, and there was a lot of opportunities created in this game. A lot of those almost moments, shall we say. But I really like the opener because it includes this counterattack, and it kind of sets the tempo. It also gave Ducks a certain amount of confidence. We almost saw one of those classic tale of two halves. You got Pele, you got an overlapping run. Remember, we're looking at that counter. You find the space, you utilize that space, and then I call this buying time. And it's so important to do this in FIFA. Intermediate, advanced players, they're very good at naturally doing this, but even if you're just getting started in the game, you need runners, you need help, you need support. Cafu attacks that line, and then you're able to have an assortment and an allocation, and it's simple capitalization. You find your target man, let him do his job. That's what R9 is all about, and it allows him to tuck it away. And in this game in particular, we saw posts being hit, we saw chances being missed. This is how you put yourself on the board, and you set the tone.
Well, they set that tone, didn't they, within the first 6 minutes? And I think we then thought it was going to be the same narrative of 4 weeks ago. Falcons not really being able to get back into it. But you just said there, it was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? Are we going to see Falcons push on from there and really get back into the game? You said you had been speaking to Msdossary in Germany this week, and he said he was ready. Do you see that? Did you see that?
I definitely think they looked better in the second half. They could have won that game. We saw 2 posts being hit, a couple opportunities being missed, and then Ducks was looking very active on some of those counters. They were finding that extra space. So far, it's a positive result to get things started. You got a point on the board, and they struggled. Last time we saw them here a month ago, it was dicey. It was shaky. It wasn't the same confidence that we're used to. So I think they're okay with this, and they're moving forward. They need a win now, though.
Well, we've obviously already spoken about the Riders matchup. They're obviously now got 10 points. We can see exactly how they did that with a few of their highlights as well. And we're expecting these world champions to make it a little bit easy now. They've already got this 10 points, and this is how they did it.
It fumbles around for the first goal, but I just call these guys unbreakable. You see them pop off, you see some of the emotion, but tactically and mentally, they expect the results. They have the ability individually, and as a collective, it's working. They found the right partnership. We talk about this time and time again. You got to get the right partner because you're only as good as you guys are able to come together with alignment, and we saw that with Riders, and it allows them to go up 2-0. It gives you a little more leverage to see out games, especially when you're facing some of that constant pressure.
Well, they're not a new partnership, of course. Nope. They're an established partnership, and that is why they work. You can see that matchup there, Riders 2, Atlanta 0, and then we saw the draw earlier on. So it was great for Team Falcons to get an extra point on the board. They're now up to 5, and we can see that, Mike, quickly, just the standings after one more round of fixtures. Oh. Remember, there's 5 tonight, but...
It's setting up nicely, Rachel.
Go on, you tell me what happens there. Go on.
Riders does create a little bit of separation, good on them, but for the rest of the competitors, this is all 1 game away.
But remember, Fnatic sat out the first game, so their 5 points hasn't moved from what we started with at the beginning of play. They are our feature matchup. They're taking Atlanta. What happened when they played last time? They drew. So this one could be interesting. And then our second matchup is Riders. Can they continue their great run of form against Ducks there, who we thought from that matchup, after getting a goal after 6 minutes, they would be in for a pretty one-sided affair. It wasn't to be, but let's talk a little bit more about Fnatic. What Fnatic are we going to see tonight, Mike LaBelle?
I'm trying to figure out what the attitude. I saw the pre-game interview. It's difficult to read into that, but I'm sure that they're happy, and I talked to Tekkz and Diogo before this. They wanted to sit out that first game, get to watch the competition, and then you play through, which is also what I would prefer, to play through. Once I get started, I don't want any breaks. I'm getting into the action. I'm sure they're pretty happy they're playing Atlanta, who just came off a loss.
Well, this is our feature matchup. It is Fnatic taking on Atlanta United. Fnatic, remember everyone, are sitting currently in 4th place. They are in the danger zone. Are they going to get something from this matchup, or are they going to be out of here after this first round of fixtures? This massive matchup is after the break. The EA Sports Cup is presented by PlayStation Tournaments.
Compete in PlayStation Tournaments. Win your share of cash prizes, FIFA points, and more as you face off in FUT and club competitions. Sign up for weekly and monthly tournaments on your PS4 console or at compete.playstation.com to test your skills on the pitch. Think you have what it takes?
Welcome back to the EA Sports Cup. We're back here for round 2 of the action. And joining me in the commentary booth is Manchester City Esports FIFA Pro Ryan Pessoa. He's in action next week in some knockout play. But for now, you get to watch everyone else go through the pain, which could be good as preparation or could be terrible.
Yeah, I feel like you learn a lot, of course, being here, watching the pros play as well, seeing what they're doing differently from the last time we played. So, yeah, there's a lot to learn.
As you can see just below us there, just under 1 minute until this game kicks off. We've got to talk about it. We've got a preview. But our featured matchup, we'll see Fnatic take on Atlanta, the highest goal scorers in this group against the lowest goal scorers in this group. There is a bit of a storyline to it, isn't there?
Yeah, the thing is, you wouldn't really expect that because you associate Fnatic, Diogo and Tekkz scoring a lot of goals, but they haven't transitioned that into 2v2 yet this year. They seem to have a lot of possession, but they're not translating that into goals. So, yeah, they're hoping for this second match week that they can put that to the test and hopefully score more.
Yeah, well, as we said, they have been so good in the EA Sports Cup. They've been very good as well at keeping possession throughout this journey in this EA Sports Cup. They did sit out the first round, which would be good or could be bad. I mean, it depends on how they wish to play. But this is the game in focus. Fnatic taking on Atlanta United. Our backup game will be Riders against Dux Gaming. Sitting out of this round will be Team Falcons. You got to watch round 1, as I guess you could say, a bit of a viewer, Ryan. What did you make of it? They played 4 weeks ago and it was 2-2 this game. We hope for more of the same.
Yeah, I remember that game. I'll be honest, I felt as if Fnatic were slightly hard done by. I felt as if they played really well in this game. I think this was their best performance of last week. But again, Atlanta United done enough to get the draw. And I believe that this week they're needing anyway to get some points on the board, of course, starting with a loss in the first round. So,
yeah, well, as I was saying, Ryan, on terms of possession, they don't score many goals. Their XG 1.15 a game, average possession 55%. They like to just about control a lot of these games. Joint 4th lowest goal scorers in the competition. That has to change today if they want to get through, unless they're going to start grinding out games by a goal to nil.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even think you can do that this year. You know, you've seen a lot of the games are high-scoring games we saw in the previous week. So if you want to rely on your defense, you need to, of course, offer something going forward as well. And as we said, in 1v1s, they're great. Last year, 2v2, they were good as well, so they need to up the levels this year.
Well, come on then, let's get this game underway. Round 2 of the EA Sports Cup. Fnatic are in town, and so is Tekkz and his teammate Diogo. Will they be going through the group of death today? They have to bring their A game. Joint second bottom of this table at the end of a difficult first outing 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks later, have they changed their game and have they changed their approach coming into this tournament? Just as a pro yourself, Ryan, what has changed in those 4 weeks in terms of this game? And maybe just could be from a formation point of view, maybe a meta point of view, maybe even a personnel point of view in FUT.
Yeah, I'd say the items that have been released, more so recently, you've seen the new World Cup hero items that have been released. They enter the team. You've got Yaya Toure, you've got Lucio with an upgraded card. Capdeville is good enough now, in my opinion, the best left back available for the players to select. So I'd say that changes. In terms of the meta, I'd say it's quite similar to the previous game week. We haven't had a patch that has completely changed the game since then.
And on the flip side for Atlanta United, they have got quite the roster. Paulo, Neto and Young did come into this Atlanta side. This year, obviously, we had Vinny did swap out. $200,000 in prize earning Paulo Neto has had. He's been to World Cups. He's won EMLSs in his time. He could be in for a chance early on. Fancied a shot from that far out. Expect to see a few of those Travellas across tonight's action. It's a difficult one, isn't it, without Travella, because you want to stand off and stop the through ball, but at the same time, you just at such risk of that shot coming in from, what, 30-plus yards out, and it could just cause so much damage.
Yeah, we saw, especially last week with Rebel Leipzig, utilising the Travellas very, very often on the edge of the box. So, again, you have to watch out for the passes into the box, the step-overs, the angles for shots inside, and the extra skill moves. But outside the box, you have to be as wary as well.
If you are a Tekkz fan, keep an eye on See the white side from left to right in this game, but the red player icon above any of the foot items said that is Tekkz that is in control. His teammate Diogo with that yellow triangle above his head. On the flip side, Paulo, Neto, the captain of this Atlanta United team, with that blue triangle, and his teammate in Young. We did speak a lot about how good defensively Fnatic have been, but on the flip side, they do score goals, but Atlanta United, Ryan, they ship a lot of them. They conceded 11 goals last week, which I think is probably the highest of any team that did pick up points in the EA Sports Cup. Of course, this is the side of an SBQR or a Blue United.
Yeah, conceding 11 is normally, if you're associating with that, you'd assume that they would be bottom. But again, they've scored a lot of goals, so you have to commend them going forward. They've done enough to be in the mix coming into this week as one of the teams that could advance into the knockout stages. But as I said earlier, they haven't started this game week the best. They lost their first game 2-0, albeit to the team in first place. But again, it's a start that they wouldn't have hoped for.
Well, they picked up 5 points from 12 4 weeks ago. And so far tonight, as you're rightly to say there, Ryan, they did lose 2-0 in their last game. They have to come with a much more positive attitude for this game, because they find themselves 0 points from 6 in their first 2 games. It's not going to do them well at all.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on both of these teams. Of course, we know what's at stake in terms of wanting to progress in the group stage, but again, you're playing somebody that's level on points with you, albeit Atlanta have played a game extra because Fnatic did sit out the first round. You don't want to drop points to... Oh, this could be it. Just enough there from Cafe, but you don't want to drop points to any team, of course, but especially a team that you're genuinely level on points with. So it's going to be tough for either team. I think that's why you might see some games that are very slow, very methodical. They're not going to rush too many things and make any mistakes until maybe later on in the game where they want to push forward. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if teams take their time this week.
Fnatic opened up their account with a set piece 4 weeks ago. It was a moment of magic. 25 yards out from Tekkz over a free kick. Keep an eye on any set piece they do win today. They have been deadly in those areas. Ginola just wins. Throwing on this side of the pitch. A third of the game gone so far. We'll keep you up to date with the other game that is currently also underway in this round. Tekkz with R9 tries his best to outsmart the likes of Cafu and find a way round, but they haven't really been able to get into the final third. Great feat, Ginola. That's Paulo. They're still driving forward. The idea was there of the chip. It's just missing that final pass this game, isn't it, for both teams?
Yeah, that was a great bit of dribbling, as you said there. It's just that they couldn't get the pass into the attacker. It was good defending, though, from Fnatic. They didn't press forward. They sort of waited to see if there was going to be a pass over the top. The L1 triangles this year are very, very effective, and the L1 R1 as well at breaching the defensive line, but just wasn't meant to be that time.
Just in terms of formations, Ryan, we saw obviously the 5-back quite popular at times across the last few weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Focus were doing that at some point. I think we even saw the likes of even RB Leipzig for a period were rocking that. This game, it doesn't seem to be that way. You at Man City, what has been sort of your go-to formation, and has it changed coming into maybe next week?
There's a lot of formations that you can use, of course, that are very effective this year. As you said, the 5-2-1-2 is very good. You've got the 4-2-2-2. Some teams also use the 4-4-2 defensive, which is very similar, just extra width. But we tend to use the 4-3-2-1. A lot of teams use that as well. You have either the left back bombing forward or the right back, just to offer that outlet when pushing forward. But again, you can leave yourself susceptible. Maybe that's why some teams have conceded a lot of goals. It looks like Atlanta actually are using that. I'm not entirely sure, but when they were attacking, it looked as if their left back was pushing forward.
40 minutes gone here. Fnatic haven't found a way into the game yet. Maybe it can come right now. Zambrotta's being brave there. He's got 2 Fnatic players just breathing down the back of his neck. He does end up with him. A goal kick for his team, but probably argue that in terms of the chances created, there hasn't really been any, to be honest, but it's been more in the side of Atlanta United so far in this game.
I think they'll be happy now, last few minutes of the first half, just to keep possession, just wait and see if there's an opportunity to push forward. If not, I'm almost certain they'll be happy to just go into half-time 0-0. But, of course, we know about the last attacks in FIFA. They always seem to lead to something.
Mbappe gets fortunate with the bounce back there. And De Villa comes into that left-back role this week. Half-time here, 0-0. Not the most exciting half of FIFA, to be completely honest. And it's hard to really come away from the half with much to break down, other than you could even argue that Atlanta United had half a chance and that's about it.
Yeah, there wasn't much to separate them at all. There wasn't really anything going forward for either team. I'm trying to think, did we see a goalkeeper make a save? I don't think so.
I'm not sure we did, but in the meantime, Ryan, whilst we'll look back on this first half, let's go to Carl Walker, who's with Team Falcons, who sit out in this round.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I am with Team Falcons, and we're watching this game just behind us, Tekkz and Diogo against Atlanta United, and it seems a cagey affair between the two. It just shows one mistake, it could cost you a vital place and some vital points, Msdossary.
Yeah, I think one mistake can kick you out of the group, to be honest. We're playing top-tier teams, especially the one in our group, and it's the best of one. So if you concede by a mistake, then you might get kicked out.
But if you get it right and you score that vital goal, you can jump up as Fnatic could do now.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Let's see. Right, thank you. Right, Brandon, let's get it back to you. I think the second half starting. Brandon, let's get it back to you. I think the second half starting.
Thank you very much, Carl. Yeah, back on the way straight away. I believe there may have even been another goal in the opposite game across the pit. We'll give you the latest on that. Which way has it gone between Ducks and Riders? In the meantime, all eyes on this one. Fnatic looking to get underway in the second half. A great tackle from Vieira. Corner goes to Fnatic, and this might be the first corner we've seen across the whole game so far. And one thing I did warn everyone at home about, Ryan, was set pieces from Fnatic from this sort of distance. Let's see what they do from here. It's Capdevia over it. Janola's come short. Watch that back post. There's a runner there. He looked to go for the in-swinger, and it's another corner.
Yeah, that is something actually that has been changed. The velocity of corners, the power, the accuracy. So that actually has been something. You're always trying to whip it into the near post, whether it's direct at goal or just whipped into a centre-back or an attacker that can get onto the ball as quick as possible at the near post. As they're trying here, and it was good defending. It was a great slide tackle as well from Atlanta United with Vieira to stop that attack.
Well, let's check into the game next door. I said there was a goal. There has been. Which way has it gone? It came just before half-time, and it's gone the way, I believe, of the Spanish esports organisation. They want a penalty from a clever piece of skillery from
down the middle.
Pele goes down the middle. Arnott does score, and I believe, there was even an equaliser in this game. The Riders come straight down the other end, and Pele says, I'll score on the stroke of half-time. That's 1-1.
That's a huge goal as well. Straight in response from conceding the penalty, they get back down the other end just before half-time. No better time to score. So it's equal in that game, the same as this one, as we see a build-up here from Fnatic.
Zezinho building for Fnatic now. They're still hunting for that first breakthrough in the game, but defensively, you wouldn't think this team conceded 11 goals last week, Ryan. They have looked okay so far until now. I've just cursed them. Mbappe and Tekkz doing what he does on the biggest of stages. Trivela into the top corner, and Fnatic are alive and breathing in London.
The moment the angle opened up there for the Trivela, it's only one thing that's going to happen. I don't think they have enough time to move the goalkeeper. It was very sudden from the tackle, and it was the item of Mbappe to put it into the top corner. Trivela, again, is very effective this year from those angles on the edge of the box, so not surprised to see that one go in.
I literally just cursed them there. I said they were defending so well. Well, this is how it stands at the moment in Group C, with these goals going in and this group changing. Fnatic now on 8 points. It puts Atlanta into a difficult position. They'll know what position they're in. As I said, Ryan, if they get 0 points from the first 6 available, it's not going to be looking good for the American football inside. Movie Star Riders currently drawing their game. They still sit top, and Dux Gaming still very much in the conversation.
Fnatic have a game in hand, of course, over the players or the teams above them. Watch out for the cross here. It's blocked by Capdevia. So they're technically in an advantageous position compared to the teams around them. They could even go first if they end up or level on points with Riders in first if all stays the same and they win their game in hand. So yeah, it could be an all-important game, this game for Fnatic. They'll be hoping that they can just defend, maybe slow the pace of this game down to the speed it was in the first half. So we see they've lost possession.
We did joke around about them winning 1-0 games, Ryan, and scraping out results. It might actually be on the cards.
Yeah, it might be enough.
They picked up 5 points from 7 in game week 1, which, as I said, was 4 weeks ago. A lot of time to work on and look back at the footage of the games they played. As you said, they only scored 4 goals and conceded 4. They conceded sort of the 4th lowest goals in the competition. That's across 20 different teams in this EA Sports Cup. Now 25 minutes away from a 1-0 win. In this situation, Ryan, you know, your teammate shells, you're thinking, right, let's push for another goal just because you know how unsafe that 1-0 scoreline is? Or are you just saying, look, let's just try and possession this game out and try and get a 1-0?
I think it's too early in the game to try and just look to retain that 1-goal lead. We've seen in many weeks gone by how it's easy to turn a lead around. So you kind of want to still push for the goal. If the opportunity arises, you want to take the counter-attack if it opens up. However, I wouldn't necessarily say you need to push bodies forward. Just be a bit more risk-averse, but not too risk-averse. You can maybe go towards a defensive formation, maybe 78th, 80th minute, see how it goes from there. But anytime before that, I think you just invite too much pressure for too long.
As we said, just under a third left of this game. As soon as we have updates for you in that Riders Ducks game, or if there has been any goals, we'll give you the latest as it comes through. It was 1-1 last time I saw them, as you can see. Just watching over that group, just a few yards behind the back of Atlanta United, do sit Team Falcons. As it stands, they do sit bottom of the table, but you are right to say they have got a game in hand. It's a tight group, this one. We knew it was tight coming into today. Yeah. And we're lucky that the way these results are going, the storyline of this group is still there and it is still so open. Yeah,
it definitely looks as if it's going to go down to the wire. No team, other than Riders, I'd say, even though they're drawing right now, but no team has completely pulled away yet.
Well, the best thing about this is, Ryan, Riders sit out the next game. So if they do draw this or even lose the game, they're coming back into round 4 with potentially another team on 11 points.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I always find it hard coming back or playing after the break because you're playing a team that's just played a game, whereas you've sat out for a little bit. Maybe you don't practice in the practice arena, or you just sit out, maybe analyze the games that are going on. So it's kind of tough. You don't know what to do, and sometimes you could get caught off guard. So for their sake, they'll be hoping that doesn't happen. But again, that game between Riders and Ducks is huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, if Riders win it, Ryan,
I would say
they get themselves from 13 points.
Yeah, I would say, for me, that's done.
You say job done?
Yeah, I say job done.
Well, let's see if anything else comes through this game. Looks like Fnatic are ready to jump back into it. Paulo, Neto, you can just see there on the right-hand side of your screen, making the final changes. It could be personnel, could be tactical changes. As they look to find a way back into the tie, they'll know how important these last 25 minutes are. Although we did say changes are happening, and here they come.
It was a long pause. There must have been a lot of tactical variations loaded up into the game just to see, just in case, based on how the game's going. Great interception
Looks
there.
as if is it Zidane that's come on, Eusebio that's come on, maybe even Theo Hernandez might have even been introduced late into this game. 20 minutes left. Fnatic looking to find their second to put it to bed. Eusebio happy to get back and defend. They'll know exactly what they need to do.
That's a great step defending there, just to cut the angle down of the pass to stop it going through. Now they can push forward. The ball whipped in.
Oh, wow. Look at the time. Look at the space for R9. But what a save from Van der Sar.
Wow.
Again, just proving why he's the man you really want in the sticks of your goal. He's been unbelievable.
To me, I thought it was a goal. I was ready to look away, thinking that it was already going to hit the back of the net.
Here comes.
Corner.
Paulo back. Defend him. What a chance that was, though, for Diogo. And again, you can't really sit there and say, what else could he have done?
Yeah, it's true. He's done enough. I wonder if there was goalkeeper movement to try and cut the angle down or guess the right way. If so, of course, you have to give credit to, I believe it would be Neto moving the goalkeeper. But again, you just expect that to find the back of the net.
Especially in that area of player of AndoniiPM's quality. Speaking of him, he's back in possession again. Diogo looking for the one more pass to his teammate. He would have been Mbappe. Tekkz was in control of him. But again, Atlanta United just doing enough. Can they get out, though? This Fnatic press they find themselves in. 10 minutes left of round 2. Remember, the storyline of today is only the top 2 teams in this group will be going through to the knockout stages at the start of next year in January. It's a $250,000 2v2 tournament. Only 8 teams from the 20 will make it into the knockout stages.
This is huge. They managed to escape the press.
Yeah, Torre just driving forward towards the back post. What a save again! Wow. Van der Sar.
Wow, he's even brought him out there just to try and intercept that cross as well. You just kind of have to hope for Fnatic it doesn't come back to bite them, but a counter-attack could be on here.
Neto tries his best to outsmart the defender. Doesn't really get him anywhere. Pele controlled by Tekkz. Watch that back post. Janola's queuing up. They know that they can just keep possession.
Discipline. That's what you have to do now in these situations. There are options where they could go for goal, but it's just to be sensible unless it's clear cut.
And Tekkz makes it 2. And just in one game of FIFA, they've scored 50% of the goals they scored 4 weeks ago. They look like a different side, a more disciplined side do Fnatic. And that's 3 points on the board. A big 3 points on the board.
It's a huge goal there just to see out the game. Of course, you wouldn't expect there to be any sort of comeback possible with under 5 minutes left to play. 2 goals up now for Fnatic. Again, discipline. I spoke about the way they started to build up there from the last 15 minutes. They didn't push forward too frequently unless there were open spaces for them to push into. And they made the most of that chance. Deserved 2-0 leaders in this game.
On the flip side, for Atlanta now, Ryan, I hate to say it, they've not got a break until round 4. So they're back in. And who do they play in their next game? Well, they'll play Dux Gaming, which is not going to be a nice tie at all. They have to take something from that next game, or they're going to be 0 points from 9 going into a break.
And I think I need to see the live table for now, but I believe if they lose this game, of course, dependent on results as well, it's a very, very uphill battle for them to even get into it. I know they're still only 3 points behind, but it's going to be tough, Brandon. I think, as you said, for the next game against Dux, they have to win. There's no, I don't think a draw's enough. I think they have to get 3 points.
I mean, 3 minutes in this game, Ryan, 2 goals for Atlanta. I'd be absolutely shocked if Atlanta were to find 2 goals. It's going to be a case of Fnatic just seeing this one out. But regardless, what a start for Tekkz and Diogo. Tekkz for both the goals. But nevertheless, Diogo playing a massive part.
Just the pressing, look at that. They're pressing as a unit. They're defending a lot better higher up the pitch than they did in the first game week. You can just see that the way they cut the angles for the pass, one person presses, one person cuts the lane for the open pass. Yeah, defending very, very well higher up the pitch and, of course, deep into their half as well.
As we said, defensively, they've always been sound. It was just a case of, could they add a few more goals to their tally? 2 goals in their first opening game is the dream start. It's not been the dream start for Paulo, Neto and Young. Finesse from distance, just over the bar. But it will be back to the drawing board as things do not look pretty at all. They will sit joint bottom of this group, and Falcons have a game in hand. Referee conclude the game. Fnatic back amongst it in that top 3.
Yes, and of course, I'd say definitely deserved. We didn't really see the attacking prowess of Atlanta United in this game. I think they'll be very disappointed with that. They didn't put a lot of pressure on and look as if they were going to get anything from this game. So for their last 2 there, they're going to be hoping to bounce back. But for Fnatic, it's a great start to the day.
Yeah, a massive 3 points on the board. As we said, I believe if that game was a draw between Dux and Riders, it would put them on the exact same points. Both on 8 points, as we said, Riders. They might be going into a break in round 3, but if we see Fnatic and, more importantly, Dux go and get some points from those games, it could really, really tighten this group up. They're not quite there, Riders. They need to still get another 3 points on the board, you'd like to say, to get them over the line.
And this next round, I believe it's is it Falcons versus Fnatic? So that is going to be
the big one.
That is a massive game.
Is coming up in this next round of Play Live in London. If you're a fan of both of them, this might not be a 1v1 duel, but it's a 2v2 duel. And still, both could get knocked out tonight.
Yep. It's the way the group's looking, it looks as if one of those teams will be eliminated today. With the way Riders have been performing, you sort of would, I know they're not guaranteed yet mathematically, but you'd assume them to go through. So yeah, potentially one of those teams could be out.
As we said, 2 games down. There are still 3 more rounds of action to come, including that Tekkz-Msdossary game in the next round. Well, speaking of Tekkz, he's joined with Kyle Walker right now and his teammate Diogo after their first win here in the EA Sports Cup.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, 3 more rounds to go, but it just shows how in these first 2 rounds, or 1 round for yourselves, how things can change. You've got a game in hand. You're sitting 3rd in the table right now, and it just shows that if you can keep this momentum going, you can slowly climb up, Tekkz.
Yeah, we won our first game last week, didn't win another game that week. So it's minor. We just need to stay composed and take our chances and try control the game.
Well, it's Falcons for you guys next. And how do you avoid then, Diogo, to ensure that it doesn't happen again? You don't win that first game and then not win another game after it.
I guess not get complacent, especially because, like you said, we're 3rd in the group. There's nothing. We have Falcons next, great team. And we drew last time, so, you know, it's time to win.
It's time to win. It's great to sit here and watch and observe when you're not actually playing and watch the other teams watching you. What's Team Falcons were watching? When you scored that second goal, they just walked off and they walked out of here to get ready and prepped. Does that add some extra pressure to you, knowing that there's other teams that are in it that are maybe watching you, hoping that you lose, and maybe thinking, well, if they lose, we can calculate it, we can win, we can climb up the table?
No, not really. I want teams to lose. They want me to lose. They want us to lose. Like, it's esports, innit?
It's esports, innit? I like that from you guys. You seem super relaxed, super confident, as always, and you got a smile on your face. Rachel, Mike, 2 rounds down. These guys have got a game in hand, though, and the next round, super exciting.
Yeah, I love that. Well, everyone wants everyone to lose. Well, it's sport as well, Tekkz. It's not just esports. Every single competitive fixture is like that. Mike, they played better, would you say? Kind of more decisive. Obviously, 2-0 over there, but had more chances.
They always seem the more likely to win that matchup. And like I said, played a really big factor, the timing. Atlanta just came off a bad result, back-to-back bad results. Now you start to question, is Atlanta kind of on the hot seat? You got to make some noise right here, right now. And they're coming into that premier matchup. Falcons, Fnatic. I'm happy to be here for it.
Yeah, I'd say Atlanta are the team at the moment who have a little bit more to do going into their next set of fixtures, whereas Fnatic riding this wave of momentum right now. And Mike, I know you were sitting behind the scenes watching that one in quite a lot of detail, and you have an analysis presented by PlayStation Tournaments from that one.
I was going to say I was sitting pitch side, but virtually sitting pitch side.
You could have been.
And of course, we're going to look at the opening goal. I really love this play in general because it has a few different elements that are simple, but then at the same time, they just do them better at the pro side. You look at this instant counterattack. I'm talking 2 seconds at the maximum. You notice the goalkeeper's on that near post. He's hugging it. You go ahead and utilize that Trivella, which is completely overpowered this year. Line it up, splits the defensive back line there. And also the speed of execution is where you really have to salute Tekkz and Diogo. Having that instinctively or from a reaction standpoint, and then having this opening goal of something magical. It's something we're used to seeing, but at the same time, you got to congratulate them.
You have to congratulate them. And from what you've seen from 4 weeks ago, do you think they've put the work in?
They're looking better in the final third. And that's kind of been maybe the critique, if you're going back a month, is that some of the unlocking of space, the intricacies, those details that we always compliment a player like Tekkz at finding that space, didn't find it, and he scored a couple in that one, so I would not want to be going up against this confident Tekkz that's just coming off a big W.
Well, that's Falcons' job next. We'll get into that in a short while, but first up, let's remind ourselves of the draw. It was Riders taking on Ducks, and this is how it went down.
Indeed, as you see some of that build-up play. And the opening goal is actually going to be a penalty kick here. You see Pele working, giving you a little bit of scooting and booting, draws the penalty kick. I love the step overs this year. Not nearly as happy from the likes of Tuga and Andoni. Not able to stop the penalty kick. However, there's going to be an instant rebuttal. If there's ever a better time to score a goal, it's right after conceding. You see that Cruyff turn from Zezinho, the extra pass again from Pele. Top corner, best corner. And it wasn't a game full of a bunch of action, but it ends up being 1-1, and it allows, of course, for Andoni and Tuga, they're probably sitting here pretty happy. Those are 2 positive results. Their lead, they're still sitting at the top of the table.
Well, 11 points now for Riders is what Mike was talking about. They obviously finished that game with a draw against Ducks Gaming. Ducks probably happy to take a point off of the table toppers there. And then Fnatic and Atlanta, we obviously recapped that already. It was 2-0 for Fnatic, their first win of the day and their first match of the day. And this is how Group C currently looks. And again, look at those green markers next to Ryder and Ducks. That means they are the 2 at the moment who are going to go through to progress those finals in January. 11 points to 8, but then Fnatic are on the same. They're matching Ducks, aren't they?
It's the 2 teams that have that game in hand. And if this were to flip-flop, we could see a lot of players or a lot of squads on 8 points. I'm here for all the drama, the intensity, the back and forth. I co-sign it.
Well, it's about this big matchup though next. So the 2 Fs, Falcons and Fnatic. I mean, this is the match of all matchups, because if we just heard from what the boys were saying on the commentary booth, we're probably going to lose one of these guys, because it looks like Movistar Riders are going through, which means we're going to say goodbye to Fnatic or Falcons. This is terrible news.
Depends who you're talking to. We just heard Tekkz say someone's got to win, someone's got to lose in it. I probably shouldn't do that. But either way, that's the
what
game.
Tekkz said.
It's the premier matchup that's coming next. Everybody wanted to watch this. You want to see it on display, and this is a real decider.
Well, actually, someone could have a draw, but we don't want to see that. We want to see, obviously, a massive game of FIFA. Here it is. the boys here in green. The Falcons going up. The guys with a good run of form so far. They just got their first 3 points of the day. It's the king of the jungle up against the goats. It's coming next.
Well, hello there. This is the game that we've all been waiting for. Richard Buckley, Mike LaBelle in the commentary booth. Falcons versus Fnatic. And I'm going to get it right out the gate. I'm going to get it right and nice and in early. Falcons must win. If they don't win this game, could be all curtains.
And I'll get even a little more controversial. I think they will win, and we're going to be sitting here 8 points across the table. We're going to be battling for second place.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an truly outstanding match upcoming. Msdossary and Goatmoh from Team Falcons, Tekkz and Diogo from Fnatic. They've matched up a few times in history, and we can have a look at what happened 4 weeks ago when Falcons and Fnatic did go head-to-head, Mike. It was quite a cagey affair, you would say.
It was still early on as well. If you're going to rerun the time a little bit, a month ago the game had just been released. People were still figuring out some of the meta, how to score the goals in the best manner. A lot of 1v1s were being missed. Goalkeepers were having incredible days in the office, and it did lead for more of those cagey affairs, as you were saying, but today's a different day. In fact, we've progressed a little bit. There might even be an incoming patch coming soon. The guys look a little more comfortable together.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the previous meetings, we saw that one 4 weeks ago. This is if you run through the history of Tekkz in particular and Msdossary. A lot of finals between these two here. A lot of money has been dropped by one of these two players not being able to succeed their opponent. All the way back to 2018, DOS beat Tekkz 4-3, 5-2, 6-4, and then the last time we saw them one-on-one against each other, we were there in Paris, in particular, where Msdossary won on penalties. I was actually in the room with all the players watching that, and it was electric. You had half of the sort of competitors all supporting Tekkz, the other half all supporting Dosari. It was a great game. We'll have to wait and see what happens now on the pitch.
I can't believe we're at this point.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, I can't believe we're at this point because what we're kind of pushing here is a narrative, because it's true. These guys are going to be battling for second place. There's only one slot really available to get out of the group stage. We're not talking about a semifinal or a final or even a quarter. These guys, one of them's probably going home.
You didn't think that this game would be must-win when I looked at the fixtures from 5 weeks ago, and we thought, well, Falcons, they'll come good, surely. Fnatic, they'll come good. Are Fnatic turning the corner right now? That last performance, it was a good performance. Picking up the 3 points, as you see the team on the screen right there, a little flavour of what's to come. Must watch FIFA. You can't miss this game right now. Team Falcons from left to right in the black and green strip, and from right to left, it's going to be Fnatic. Tekkz and Diogo from right to left. Light blue Diogo, dark blue Tekkz. I got a little bit nervous because Mike just touched me on the arm. Msdossary, the red icon, and Goatmoh, the yellow. Mike, what you got to say?
I want to throw this out quickly. Let us know in the chat, who do you have winning this matchup, because this is a big one. I would say this is the premier matchup. Everybody's been waiting for this head-to-head, especially in the 2v2 format. And the fact that it really feels like an elimination game. Everything's been escalated. And because of that, I just feel the drama. I feel the sweat. I feel the interest levels, the peak. Everything's there.
Well, you just saw that early chance there. It was a switch of play from Fnatic. Falcons picked up the ball and turned it on the other way. We do have another game taking place right now as well. It's not just Fnatic and Falcons, and that's Atlanta and Team Ducks. It's a must-win game for Atlanta United, and what a start after 3 minutes for Young and Paulo Neto. As we jump back to our featured matchup, chance there for Team Falcons runs into Lucio at the back.
And they really need that. If you're just tuning in, the first 2 matchups, if you're an Atlanta United fan, really haven't gone their way, haven't been able to get the results, looked a little sloppy on some of the defensive situations. And them starting out ahead puts them in a position to be able to dictate some of the tempo.
You see that as it stands table, that's the live table currently. The Riders top on 11, Fnatic on 9, they will go through. Ducks Gaming and Atlanta United on 8 apiece, and Team Falcons rooted at the bottom.
And I'm not sure a draw helps either of these teams.
It doesn't.
Whether you're a Fnatic fan, you're a Falcons fan, beautiful cross.
Oh, hello. Lovely Travella cross into the box. Edwin van der Sar right behind it. 30 minutes have gone so far, and it's been all Team Falcons.
And Msdossary and Goatmoh might feel a little bit hard done to not have a win to start out the day because they had chances. Posts were hit, opportunities created. As you see that overtaking of possession.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, look, that Ducks game in second half, they were the dominant force in that game. They created opportunities. From the commentary booth right now, what you can't see, typically the other caster will sit and watch the game. Ryan Pessoa had his head in hands for the majority of the match because it was missed chance after missed chance after missed chance for Team Falcons, and they need to tighten up if they want to take 3 points against Fnatic.
It's got to be said, though, it does come down to the details. Maybe hitting the post a little bit unlucky, but there's already been a couple chances where maybe a Travella lane opened up, or even that cross. You got to do better with that. That is in that bread and butter zone, 6-yard box. You've got Pele. He's unleashed. You have time. Put that into a corner.
We just see a slight period of possession here from Fnatic, maybe getting their composure and calmness in this must-win game.
I think it's clever. I think it's smart. There might be some coaching behind them saying, you need to change the pace of this. The rhythm is a little bit offsetting. And it just takes the likes of Falcon out of the game.
I mean, I'm not sure what West Hanson's saying behind him. but
somebody said something back there, okay? Maybe Wes's beard twitched a little bit.
I think maybe just the experience that these two have got in these huge games on how to control the match. Chance here for Fnatic. It's going to be Tekkz with R9 Ronaldo. Dancing, step overs, left and right. Vieira with the block.
That is brilliant offense. Maybe did it slightly too much. And even better defending. To sit tight, not to overreach or overstep. A big part of the competitive world is being able to bait some of these defenders or midfielders out of position. And that's what you're seeing with a lot of those step overs and change of direction. And Msdossary and Goatmoh, they didn't fall for any of it.
That ball will find its way to Capdevere at left back, a new addition brought in with the inclusion of the brand new heroes surrounding the World Cup. Very rare that you see a player introduced in a promo, then almost instantaneously brought into the team. But Yaya Toure, obviously the upgrade on his regular, and then Capdevere, a new addition at left back who plays a lovely pass down the line that introduces David Ginola into the game. He fires it back to Kylian Mbappe. Elastico inside the box, sees up his man, tries just dipping past Cafu, but Goatmoh in the way.
It's got to be said as well. That is a skill move you don't see that often, where you have almost a flare heel to heel, where it gives you that extra step. Sometimes you get a nutmeg, or even the ball will bounce off the defender. It's really valuable in 2v2s, especially because you're having two players moving simultaneously, the team press, the double teams, you name it. Sometimes it'll push its way through and give you that extra burst.
And typically what you see in that situation, whether it's England, Tekkz with another teammate, or with Fnatic with Diogo, it's Tekkz baiting the defence out, and then you just offload it for that extra pass, that sort of easy goal. Chance here for Team Falcons, again standing strong at the back. It's starting to get a little bit of flavour to this game. There's chances starting to pop up at either end of the pitch as Ronaldo whips it into the box. Vieira stands strong. It's only going to fall as far as Kylian Mbappe, but Zidane too strong against his compatriot.
And you're seeing some of that variety with both their attacks. There's a certain comfort level here, but at the same time, I don't know about you, but I feel some tension in the room. It's very quiet.
It's very, very tense as Ronaldo dances with Msdossary. Just about. Again, there's been a lot of last-ditch tackles at the moment. We've only played 41 minutes. It feels like a marathon in this game because it's back and forth. The implications can't be understated with how big of a match this is.
And what you're seeing here is something that's pretty normal in the competitive scene, where you're looking for that final attack in the 45th minute. You hold it, you walk it in, you make sure that you're not going to allow a counterattack, so to speak.
Zezinho out wide. Capdevia comes across. The referee will let us play this attack out here for Team Falcons. Let's see what Msdossary and Goatmoh can produce. Edge of the box, Zidane in the Travella range. We expected it to come out. Ronaldo now, he picks up the pieces, tries firing the ball through to Pele, can't quite make it through the gap, and that will do us an action-packed first half, but yet again, when these two teams have played, we've seen no goals.
The 0-0 really doesn't do justice. It's got to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the top of the tree are riders at the moment, and Kyle Walker is joined by that squad.
I am indeed, Richard. I'm here in the players' warm-up area. That's why it's slightly darker than out in the studio. I've got Tuga with me, top of the pack right now, top of Group C and leading it. But it feels like you've got this game off and everyone's chasing you. How difficult is that in this warm-up area?
It's a bit difficult because we are watching the games, hoping for some draws, some losses from some teams. But we need to focus on our game. We got a real quick chat on that, and we are only focused on the next game against Ducks. Against Team Falcons, and we need a win or a point to go to top 2.
And you're watching Fnatic against Team Falcons just now. Who do you think's going to come out on top?
Hopefully, Fnatic wins, just because Falcons will be much more lower on this group. But whatever result comes from this game, it will be the same for us because we need to win against Falcons.
Brilliant. Well, the game's starting right now, so guys, I'll throw it back to you, and we'll be watching eagerly from the warm-up room.
Cheers, Kyle and Tuga. Great words there from a world champion. You made an observation just very quickly at half-time there in sort of the attacking play. Mike, talk me through it. The skill moves in particular.
Once we got into the final third on both Falcons and Fnatic, they both had very good entry-level or primary skills, and at the competitive level, you're often looking for that secondary skill, and that's kind of what was lacking in terms of the final piece of that attack and that storytelling that we talk about with the attack, and they just mistimed that, and that's why they didn't have an opener.
We'll see if those secondary skill moves can pay dividends here, that attack. Only as far as Virgil van Dijk, but David Giannolo with a huge chance. Wide of the post. Falcons caught napping, and Fnatic should be 1-0 up.
I can't believe it. I was just going to say, or a major mistake. We didn't see any major mistakes in the first half. That was the first one. You have to convert. Giannolo with the 5-5, a goal-scoring machine, an absolute threat, the correct body type, the movement, the razzle, the dazzle, and the finishing, and he left you off or let you down just slightly. All the time in the world, maybe too much time.
That has to convert.
I think it caught him off guard. I don't think they were ready for the opportunity. They got a big takeaway, maybe a little bit of a stutter step, and then capitalize versus the goalkeeper.
Well, he's looking to redeem himself. Just caught offside there is David Giannolo. If that's you, Mike, does he get brought off?
He might be.
You missed a chance like that, off you come.
Yeah, offsides now. I don't think we're on the same page. As you see a little more of the pressing, though, I like to see this from Fnatic. They're pushing on where they're taking some gambles, they're taking some risks.
This ball just kept moving at the moment from Team Falcons, trying to pick their way through the Fnatic defense. Goatmoh inside the box, offloads it to Pele. Great save, Edwin van der Sar.
That's total football. Really deserves the goal. Almost everyone touches it with the build-up. Like you were saying, some of the tiki-taka, the speed of the build. And it's something we've noticed in this game in particular. Fnatic's had more success as they've slowed down the game, and Falcons have had more success if they sped up the game. So they have different approaches to their offensive build-up and even their final third work.
So the question really is who implements their game plan the better at the moment. Falcons looking to accelerate the pace in which this match does conclude. 28 minutes left to play. Pele is onside. He rips into the box. R9! A great defensive header. Round of applause from Lucio.
Everybody's putting in full effort. They're putting for a shift. They play for the badge, Rich. I mean, you see that. I think that's getting through. You have a diving header. You have that clearance. I will say this is a bit of a worrisome situation because corner kicks have been so effective, so dangerous. Sometimes it's that initial corner. We've even seen people shooting if you move the goalkeeper a little bit too far forward to try to take away angles. We've seen the resets. We've seen those secondary balls. There's just a lot of space to work with in corners or bounces that can go your way or go against you.
We just see here conversations, deep conversations. Enzo leading it. He's the coach, the man in the suit, if you are unaware, on Team Falcons. For Fnatic, it was just Tekkz and Diogo having that chat, but I think both teams will see this as a very winnable game. A draw, I think you said at the top, helps nobody.
That's what I was just going to reiterate. If you're Fnatic, I'm sure you'll take the point because you're pushing towards the top a little bit, but at the end
Falcons
of the day,
can't not win this game. They have to win this game.
They need the 3 points because they're right back in the competition with those 3 points.
Well, I think if Falcons were to win this game, we'd have 3 teams on 8. Maybe 4 teams on 8 points.
It might be 4 teams, yeah, because Fnatic wouldn't have anything gaining. I'm sure we'll have the live update table that will.
I'm just doing mental calculations in my head. Chance here from the corner. They've been dangerous so far. Whips into the box. Virgil van Dijk heads it away. Msdossary floats it back in and picks up the ball with himself, actually. R9 keeping the ball nice and tight to his chest. Couple of ball rolls, gets the byline. He'll get another chance at it, and now Pele. Reverse elastico into Zezinho. Twisting left and right. Chance at the near post. Little bit hasty.
And that's what I was talking about when I'm dealing with the corner kicks, and not always that initial corner kick, but what you do afterward. You saw that reset, and you saw so many intricacies there, looking for end line space. Didn't quite find that end line space, and again, big credit on the defensive end, but it is dangerous, and they are working. They have that confidence, and that's why you do not want to allow corner kicks. They just always feel like opportunities in FIFA 23.
Well, we've currently got a 1-0 scoreline still for Atlanta United in their matchup. We'll have a look at the as it stands table when the ball does turn over. Here it is. Riders on 11, Fnatic on 9, Ducks Gaming on 8, Falcons on 6, and Atlanta on 8. So you would have 4 teams on 8 points.
If Falcons were to win, everyone's on 8 across the board. We have an 8 to an 11. Riders is probably okay with that. All things all things considered,
yeah.
But it's going to be a wild finish to the day.
And this could be the chance to get 8 points on the board for Team Falcons. Kylian Mbappe down the byline. Cafu will come across and he'll take a corner.
I'm saying 1 out of 3 of these go in for me. When I'm watching the pros and how they set it up, whether it's that initial direct approach or it's that secondary, ball bounces around, you see some of that final composure, something happens. And it's typically not good for the defensive end.
And you can just see, once again, deep chats.
Can we make that the future? I want all coaches in suits. This is the first time that I've seen Enzo pull up in a suit. I don't know what he's saying, but I feel that it's very important. You're going to listen. He's going to command some respect with the tactics.
The best bit about the suit is the green tie.
He's on brand.
Yeah, you've got to be. Where's the orange tie from Wes Tanser? That's my question.
I don't know if Wes has said anything throughout the game.
He's ever wore a suit in his entire life.
He looks very intimidating. If you had a bouncer as a coach, that would be someone that I would choose.
A bit like a Viking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would not run down on a Viking.
Never. Never would. We're going to get back underway very, very shortly indeed.
This has been a very eventful 0-0, if you're just tuning in.
Oh, it's been incredible.
We're 0-0 here, but you're seeing all the competitors try to outthink each other. We haven't necessarily had a post-hit, but we've had a lot of double down and overthinking, extra skills when maybe they needed less, simplicity and complications, all encompassing.
Cross whipped into the box. It's going to go all the way through to Patrick Vieira. He's dilly-dallying on it. The chance will fall to Virgil van Dijk, who saves from Edwin van der Sar. Big opportunities fall in the way of Team Falcons. We do have a goal in the other game. Every goal matters here.
Talk to me, Rich.
In this clutch group, and it will fall to Team Ducks. They level it up at 1 apiece. Draws galore here in round 3. Falcons looking to turn 1 into 3 with their point total, but they need to get this goal. Fnatic, on the other hand, they've been under pressure in this second half.
You felt a little bit of a shift, but that's fantastic composure to get out of the back. You see a little bit of the resurface, and they're going to get an extra attack out of that. But we have an updated Group C potential fixture here based on that draw. We both have 9 points here, assuming that Fnatic gets a draw in this game. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, Ducks would go back above Fnatic down to the tiebreakers that are currently separating the two sides. Atlanta and Falcons need to turn those draws into wins if they want to start propelling their team up the table. Yaya Toure picks up on that loose pass for Fnatic and drives towards the Falcons' goal. Zambrotta's across, but he can't stop the Ivory Coast midfielder, who squares it into R9. Van der Sar comes through the back. He's going to bounce off R9. It was a certain goal.
I can't believe it. Wow. What an opportunity. That's maybe the first time we're going to say that R9 got in the way instead of converting the 1v1. Duck, move, jump, do something. Just get out of the way. That was a tap-in. That was the finish. And the goalkeeper might have had a little bit of a debatable situation there as well. The ankles looked like they were lost.
It looked like a penalty, I'll be honest. It's all come from Yaya Toure just driving 40, 50 yards down the pitch. What can Zidane do? He lays it into Eusebio, fresh off the bench. Can he be the star player here for Team Falcons? Ruud Gullit not with passing like that, but the referee will bring it back for a free kick. Goatmoh is over it. Couple more players as well. R9, Zidane, Virgil van Dijk involved. There's only one player in the wall. Offloads to Mbappe. Trying to create the angle. Msdossary knows the importance of this final chance. Biding his time. Ball roll scooped in the corner. Now Zambrotta's involved. He fires it into Zidane. Off to Hullet. Green timed. It's going to fall into Van der Sar's hands. And these two sides have met once before, 4 weeks ago. It ended 0-0. Smiles all round from Fnatic. I think they'll be the happier side at the moment. A draw again. These two can't score a goal.
Let me do some calculations. Earlier today, I think we were dealing with the tiebreak where Rich was trying to tell me about permutations, and I don't even know if you know what permutations mean. I think you dictionaried that word and brought that into the live stream. But we have 1-1 here. Last attack, final opportunity.
And these are live shots from this game. Ball given away from Ducks. It will allow Atlanta United to come forward. Erling Haaland off the bench. Can he be the saviour for Atlanta? Chance! Off the line for Carlos Alberto!
It has to be!
Carlos Alberto! Talk about heroes. Build that man a statue.
You can't write a better script. Unbelievable.
Oh, that's incredible. The corner still yet to come in. They could salvage something. Taking their time over it. Fired into the box. It's gone all the way through. Ruud Gullit, can he keep it moving forward? He can. Lucio trying to convert. It won't fall for them. Draws all round here in round 3. Ducks Gaming and Atlanta United. Look at head in hands moment for Atlanta United. That game was there to win.
And for good reason. I would feel that pain. I'd feel some of that devastation. You got the cookbook. You've unlocked all the space. You're chefing up the dishes, and somehow that finish is blocked off the line. I can't believe what I just witnessed.
Oh, that's going to be replayed over and over and over again, but they're the...
Someone clip it!
Full-time results.
Bring that back. Send it our way.
Team Falcons 0, Fnatic 0, Atlanta United 1, Ducks Gaming 1. And look, we came into this round saying you can't lose. Nobody lost. They kept up the draws in this group. The table will pretty much stay as it was, with probably Ducks and Riders being the top 2 teams in it. Fnatic just on third on goal difference and also other tiebreaker situations. Down at the bottom, 6 points apiece. Atlanta and Falcons have to win their next game if they want to try and stay in the hunt. It's becoming an almost impossible task for those two teams at the bottom.
They've got to win out, and Atlanta's had a rough day. Falcons might feel really hard done because they battled back in their opening matchup, created that comeback, and they made opportunities. The post was hit. They had everything you could ask for. Even that game, you could review and revisit and say, maybe we could have done something a little bit better here.
Yeah, an incredible performance from all 4 sides there. 1 point apiece in round 3. That's it from the commentary booth for this particular game between Mike LaBelle and Richard Buckley. Back down to Kyle, who's joined with Paulo Neto.
Thank you, guys. I am indeed. I mean, what an end it was to the match. For all the viewers that were watching that, I'm sure in the Twitch chat, everyone in the pit and here at the arena, we're all so excited. We love that type of FIFA. Being involved in it, though, hard to take at the end there, Paulo Neto?
Yeah, it was hard to take it. We had like 2 chances on the end and the last one on 9th minute and didn't go in the ball and was very important for us. But yeah, it's FIFA, it can happen, things like that, and we are prepared for that.
Now, looking at the table, looking at where you are, sitting 4th in the table, we see how things change so quickly and so drastically just over the course of 1 game right now. So things could change. Are you remaining confident and positive that you can still secure that top 2 spot?
I think that our chances are pretty low now, but we're going to try it. We will give our best in all games, and we have still 1 more game. We're going to the win. It's very important for us, and we're going for that.
Now, I can tell just by talking to you how much that last game has affected you, and you seem quite down, if I do say myself, okay, looking at that. How are you going to turn it around? We need some positivity going into these next rounds for yourself, because if someone can do it, you can do it, along with your partner as well. What are you going to have to do? You have to remain positive. Come on.
No, we are positive. Of course, the game was over now and was a tough draw, but we are positive and we're going to do our best.
Well, hopefully you can do that. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of the evening. Ryan and Rachel, I mean, we can feel it here, how electrifying this game is, and we still got 2 more rounds to go.
I mean, it's coming down to the closest margins, isn't it? And you can see that by both games finishing there a draw. But Paulo, Neto, Ryan, looking a bit disappointed. They've obviously only got one more matchup.
Yeah.
They're on 6. It's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, it's almost mission impossible. They have to rely on all other results to go in their favour, which I think the teams above them still have to play each other. So I don't really know how it's going to be possible. But yeah, that last-minute chance, though, if that went in, that could have given them the sliver of hope they needed to progress. But yeah, it was just one of those games.
That's what one leg of FIFA does, and we'll obviously look at that game in more detail in a moment's time. But let's talk about the big one, Falcons, Fnatic, 0-0 again, as it was 4 weeks ago. Why can these two teams not be split? I mean, we can look at the highlights while you tell me exactly why you think they cannot find a 3 points between them.
It's two great defensive teams as well. They performed really well. There weren't too many chances, though, between them. They were great play in the box, the intricacies with the skill moves, the skill cancel combos, but there just wasn't that clear-cut chance where someone had to bury it. I felt as if a draw's fair, if I'm being honest. Both weeks, I think a draw's fair. Maybe you could say overall, Fnatic slightly edged it in the first week, but yeah, this week I felt as if a draw was fair.
It's almost like Tekkz and Msdossary, they have a bit of a handshake, don't they, coming into this thing? No one's going to split us in terms of King of the Jungle and the GOAT here. We're just going to sit on the fence and see how it comes out. Yeah,
and of course, as you said, two of the best players, but again, for 2v2, they need the results to go in their favour for this next round. It's going to be massive. I believe it's Riders up against Falcons. So it's top versus bottom, which is a huge game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was two massive games. Obviously, the Fnatic Falcons one that ended 0-0, and then the other side, we obviously spoke about that one a little bit earlier. We can again see the highlights of that matchup. We can have a look at them right now. This is the Atlanta and Ducks one, of course, which we just spoke to Paulo Neto, and he would have been pleased after that moment, but couldn't quite keep that lead, Ryan.
Yeah, 100%. It was a great Travella cross whipped in for the volley. And again, they had a few chances in this game, a great bit of goalkeeper movement there to stop Ducks coming back into it, but it was this chance there, turn on the Travella off of the bar, and to concede this late on as well, they felt as if they might have done enough to see out the win, but conceding in the last 15 minutes will be tough for them to take. And a few chances late on as well. Fantastic goalkeeper movement, green time. They felt as if it wasn't going to be their day, and this was the chance. I cannot believe, I think it was blocked off the line there from Carlos Alberto. If that hit the back of the net, that was definitely going to be a win for Atlanta United to put them in a more favourable position, but it wasn't meant to be in that game, and you can see the live table.
Yeah, this is what you wanted to see earlier. Ryan was saying, I need to see it just so I can see what it means for each team. So Riders, again, they sat that one out, so stay with 11 points. Ducks and Fnatic both on 9. Obviously, we have to look at the head-to-head goals for, etc. is while at the moment Ducks are sitting more favourable than Fnatic. Atlanta now have one more. Team Falcons are going up against Riders, but at our bottom there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. And of course, Fnatic versus Ducks is huge. That's a massive game. Ducks have to win that game. And of course, they're going to be the next game coming up in the next set of fixtures. So for them to win that game, because that's their last game of this whole tournament today, so they're going to be on 8 games played, but Fnatic will still have that extra game to play. So even if they don't win, I'm not sure, what was their result in the first week? Did they draw that game against Ducks?
What was that one, sorry?
Fnatic versus Ducks in the first week.
Ducks won.
Okay, so
1-0 over Fnatic.
I think Fnatic have to get something from this game, whether it's a draw's fine, because they can still win their last game against Riders, who might actually be already through. So they have nothing to play for, so you never know. They might just maybe be a bit more chilled out than they would be coming into if they had something to play for. That's
Ryan's brain just spieling out all these different permutations.
There's so much.
We said a lot's going to happen, but it's going to be about the massive matchup, which is top of the table, Movistar Riders. They just sat out that one, so I'm watching exactly what unfolded in round 3. They're up against Team Falcons. At this stage, we could be saying goodbye to Team Falcons.
Yeah, and that's a crazy thing to think about. Of course, we speak about Msdossary, Goatmoh as well. We had a fantastic year last year. But for 2v2, they just haven't hit the levels that they would hold themselves accountable to. But again, they're still in it. They can still go through, so they're just hoping that this next round they can show their ability.
Ryan's being nice now. Everyone's still in it at the moment.
It's the truth.
Until this one leg at FIFA is up. Is Movistar Riders taking on Team Falcons. After this one, we could possibly be saying goodbye to the guys in green. I can't believe I might be saying that Msdossary and Goatmoh may be going out of it, because it's the world champions up against a former world champion in Msdossary. This is coming up after the break. The EA Sports Cup is presented by PlayStation Tournaments.
Welcome back. And I was just talking about the last one being the premier matchup. Maybe this is the premier matchup because we have Riders versus Falcons.
Yep.
It's kind of been the tale of two different stories and days. A few of the bounces. Of course, I'm joined by Ryan Pessoa. Talk me through what's been happening here as we lead into Game 4 on the day. I always say this is the critical point.
Yeah, there's so much going on. My mind just can't escape what just happened with Atlanta, that last chance that was blocked off the line. If that goes in, it's a completely different situation for them. But of course, this game, Riders versus Falcons, top versus bottom. This is a game, of course, if Riders win up, they're 100% through. And I think as #1.
It's been pretty impressive, you got to say, with Riders. We have to revisit what happened previously. Remember, this is a month later now when these two teams matched up. And Riders are the world champs coming into this. I know we have a lot of big names. You see a beautiful finish there from Janola overhead. You see the team talk as a collective. That Travella cross, Ronaldo, doesn't matter with the goalkeeper movement. And if one is good, two is better. And this is kind of the decider in the last game. As you see that scoop turn or ball roll into the scoop turn and the finish, and Tuga and Andoni celebrate. But we're at that point now where Falcons have to win.
Yeah.
And they might feel a little pressed, a little hard done to have a couple draws.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's got to be said, they had the chances last game. And if you saw the opener that they had today, posts were being hit, opportunity on opportunity, green time finish, still not hitting the back of the net.
I feel as if they're playing well. They're not playing bad. So they're not, I wouldn't look at them and think I wouldn't think of them as a team at the bottom of the table. So again, they still have a lot left to play for. They need a win in this game.
Well, it really doesn't matter where we view them.
Yeah,
at this
because
point,
that's where
they have to win. They need a result. At least they're in a position where they can progress. Because it's got to be said now with the likes of Atlanta, and that's why that was so big they missed that chance. I don't think mathematically they can get back into this. They have one game remaining.
Yeah, I don't think they can either, because there's a lot of their head-to-head isn't the greatest against some of the teams that they're battling for. So I don't think it's enough. They would have to smash their next game maybe by 5 or 6. Of course, the goal difference matters as well. But I still don't even think, because you have to rely on another team that they've... Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be able to do it.
I'm not really sure. I don't have the mathematics in front of me, because I know everything with tiebreakers goes into head-to-heads and how you look against the teams that you're potentially tying against and that progress.
There's a lot.
I'm not here to give you the dibbling and the dabbling, but I can tell you a little bit about it as you see the competitors. What happened? I think one of them slapped the monitor off. Hey, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, you get too excited, right?
I remember being at a tournament, I saw a sweat rag get thrown. And I was like, man, if you hit me with a sweat rag, we're going to have problems. We're going to have some words. Like, I'm sending my coach to meet your coach.
No, of course, but this is a huge game. Some of the games haven't started. Again, we've got Fnatic versus Ducks. That's massive. Both of the teams are level on points, both second and third in the group stage. So the winner of that is going to be almost in an advantageous position to advance.
Absolutely. And at this point, I think all the teams are hoping for certain results that are happening in the other game. I don't know if you notify or tell someone, because I don't know if I want that information while I'm playing, because the games have been so tight. I don't know that I want to know there's a goal going this way, or that I need this, or I have to push forward. As we have Pele here, stop, pop, cancellation, recycle, Mbappe, green time finish, blocked by Cafu, and a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, Falcons are very content in taking those green time finesse shots on the edge of the box. Of course, we've seen them more frequent in other years. This year, people tend to look towards the angles for the Travella on the other side of the pitch with a right-footed player. But the finesse shots, if you green time them, they still go in. Of course, wasn't meant to be for them in that situation.
And if you're tuning in here, we've had a switch of the kits. We have Falcons now in the white kits, and we have Riders in those black kits. And we've just seen Falcons typically going the other direction.
Yeah.
So I just want to reiterate as we get into this, a little bit of a recycle here. And that opening goal in this matchup in particular will be so important, because Msdossary and Goatmoh really haven't been breaking into games. They've always had to chase back. And I'll say it right now, you do not want to have to forward some sort of comeback against Tuga and Andoni.
Yeah, exactly. They're a team that are very, very disciplined in 2v2. We saw last year when they ended up becoming victorious in the Club World Cup, the way how they barely conceded any goals, barely conceded any chances, let alone goals. So if you go 1-0 down against them, it's a huge battle to come back.
And you've obviously competed against them as you see some of this build-up. Would you say they're the most organized team of any of the 2v2 partnerships, and that's dealt with some of their collaborative success?
Yeah, there's an argument to say that they are the #1 most organized team. There's a testament to that because of their recent success, albeit in a different FIFA. But this year they've started off well. They deserve to be top of the group as well. They're very confident in the way that they can hold leads. I think that's something you have to commend, because it's not easy to hold a lead. We've seen a lot of leads. We've given away a lead as Man City before, in a previous week. So it's not easy to maintain the lead. So for them, they're confident in it.
I'm sure you want to forget that lead that you gave away, or leads that
yeah.
you gave away. It
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago, a few weeks ago. You'll be back on the big stage in the pitch coming soon.
You see, I'm minding what I'm saying. Though. I'm not criticizing anyone too much. I'm just treading. But yeah, we still got an uphill task to do as well. But again, a lot of these groups are in a similar situation going into the game week 2 for groups A, B, C, and D, where there's not a lot of points to split these teams. And even now, I felt as if we'd have a situation where maybe the top 2 teams would have pulled away by now. Or maybe one team in Riders. But again, it's still really, really tight.
And I hear a celebration. We might have a goal to talk about here. I saw a little bit of a chest bump or a nod to success when we're looking at something that's happening in the Fnatic versus Ducks matchup. I heard something behind us. We were turned behind us.
Yeah.
There was some sort of celebration.
There has been a goal.
Oh, here we go. A little bit of a rebound, bounces back. That puts Fnatic up 1-0, and that's where you saw a little bit of an exchange. That's what we heard.
Yeah.
I thought I heard something.
Slice of fortune for the ball to fall back. But again, you got to take it as it comes. They are now, as it stands, they are #1 in the group. They are
wild.
They
think about where they started.
#1, 12 points, level with Riders as it stands. Of course, Riders are level with Falcons. But if Falcons win this game, they'll be on 9. Riders 11, and it could go to the last game.
Could you imagine if we see a flip-flop this late in the competition? We talked about only one could go through between Msdossary and Falcons and then Fnatic and Tekkz.
Yeah,
it is mathematically possible, I think.
Yeah, it is possible, but as it stands right now, if the scorelines were to remain exactly as they are now, we will have the 2 teams advancing in Fnatic and Riders with still 1 round left to play.
You see some of this lovely dribbling, looking for the inside pass, not quite able to penetrate. And this is a dangerous area, big takeaway. Can you make the most of it? Extra pass again. No skill on display. Big Virgil steps into space. Terrifying center back to go up against this year.
Yeah, terrifying. I believe he is the best center back this year to use in Ultimate Team. The best item, in my opinion. I can't wait for him to get future potential cards in the game, just so we can get a slight upgrade. Of course, he's still fast with the accelerate types, but again, could be faster.
Mbappe across. You saw that fancy flick. And we see so much accuracy when you're dealing with some of the Trivella crosses or even the Rabona crosses that you saw on display there.
That was almost a goal from almost nothing, you'd say. A great bit of skill moves to choose the Rabona cross there all day. Maybe it was aimed for a Trivella, was lucky for it to come off as a Rabona, but very close.
And he's not showboating there. It's a more effective way of
exactly.
converting some of those crosses.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Ryan, but it also kind of feels a little nostalgic to have Virgil van Dijk leading the back line, even on the virtual pitch. I've been accustomed to that.
Yeah. It's been a few years since Van Dijk has been the staple item in centre-back. See build up here from Falcons.
Zambrata goes for a cross deflection. Might be a corner kick, not quite. Getting a little bit sloppy in the box with Donnarumma with sure hands. And I was just going to say, if he were able to draw a corner, I don't know about you and where you fall some of the percentages, but I'm saying 1 out of 3 and it's hitting the back of the net in some way.
Yeah, corners are very effective this year. There was a recent patch, but it's still effective to, you can go direct, you can whip it in at the near post. We saw a couple of weeks ago with Excel, Tom and Gorilla, they were great with the corners. They were almost scoring every corner they got, so it's a useful way to see a build up.
That is gorgeous work from Pele. And again, I talked about it earlier, but you have these primary and secondary skill moves. And I'm sure that you're elaborate on this a little bit, Ryan, but I feel like you throw out a lot of times the step overs or the body feints or even the ball roll, knowing that you have a secondary skill to open up a little more space or to really challenge that defender or that midfielder that's chasing back.
Yeah, exactly. The step overs this year coming to fruition again. They were great in FIFA 21, but again, this year, just using it as a speed boost to get past defenders. And as you say, use it as a way to go into another skill move.
Would hold it probing, a lot of space out wide. Zambrata, we saw the last cross didn't quite work out. Again, we're gonna have that on repeat. Secondary bounce, Mbappe, maybe a step over, something to pull back, attack the space, can't find it. We're gonna have another resurface or a recycle here. Comes to a waste, all things considered. You felt like there was something being created, maybe a little bit of momentum going into the halftime whistle.
Yeah, you can see Riders now, we speak about their discipline and how structured they are. Just playing for the last attack, they don't need to go forward. A couple minutes left before the whistle for halftime, so they're happy to go in level, or maybe if they do lose possession, that there's no time to be counted. But Oh, I've jinxed it. I've jinxed it.
Spoke
This
too
could be
soon.
a last attack for Falcons now.
And you got to go for it here.
Yeah, they have
Push
to go
some
forward.
bodies. Make this interesting.
No added time, I don't believe as well.
Oh.
Yeah, whistle will blow.
I don't love
for
that.
half time. Yeah, they have to
Av's
go
a very
forward.
passive approach.
Yeah.
I know it might seem like something small, but the small details is what separates these types of teams, especially at this level with such small margins.
And I think for Falcons, they need to win this game. Well, I don't think they have to win this game. For Riders, they're okay with a draw.
This is win or go home for Msdossary and Goatmoh.
Yeah, exactly. They have to win in order to advance or give themselves a good chance to advance.
And I'm looking at the scorelines, the Fnatic game versus Ducks. They're still at 1-0. There's some sort of corner kick happening now, just past halftime. And you see the coaching staff. Enzo's really kicking in here with Msdossary and Goatmoh. And I know from a tactical standpoint, substitution-wise, they are going to increase the pressure. That's what they're deliberating right now.
Yeah.
I've got a back-end view. We got the front-end view. I'm telling you, you will not see another half that is that defensive or that passive where they're almost taking turns with the attack and the defense. It's going to get disruptive. It's going to have havoc.
It really is. And, of course, having someone the stature of Enzo as a coach in the scene, he's coached the best players in the world. A lot of accolades to his name, so there's no better person to have over your shoulder giving you knowledge, and of course they'll be aware of the situation they're in. He will be telling them the scorelines in the other game. They know what they have to do. They have to win this game. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's also about timing your push. They can't come out now and
Yeah,
just be
exactly.
too overly aggressive.
Yeah.
But maybe you do shift into a little bit of team press. You turn
Yeah.
it on and off. I don't think you're going to go into that constant pressure. Maybe even have a pressure after possession loss or some sort of tactical adjustment. Maybe go a little bit wider.
Yeah.
But what are you doing at this point? You're in that same situation. You need to reinvent. You need more opportunities to be created. Because even if you're going offensive, doesn't mean you're going to break down the likes of Tugan and
Yeah,
Andoni.
I don't think I'd go too offensive now. I'm not too sure if I change anything exactly, but I'd have more tactical variations available. If it reaches the 60th minute, press after possession loss, maybe 70th or 75th, constant press. Be aware of the subs that you want to make pre-planned before that situation arises as well.
And I only bring that up because that might have been the longest halftime deliberation we've seen in this competition. The 5th week, I don't know if there's been anything that went on that far between back and forth. Should we shift this? I'm not so sure. I want to adjust that. It definitely was a real hold-up play.
Yeah. It's a great bit of pressing there as well from Andoni, I believe, to retain or retrieve possession.
I actually think that Riders saw something they didn't like. See a pause being queued. I think they're going to do a little bit of an adjustment on their own side here, or their own end. It's too early to really start to set up shop. You don't want to do that, especially not with how overpowered or how strong some of the pressure system is. But at the same time, if you can make those outlets easier, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Of course, have to pay attention to the other games as well. An update, Fnatic are still leading 1-0, so they are still #1 in this group. They've turned it around completely this week.
In fact, I'm going to fire off if we can get an update on the production end of where it currently stands, because we have a draw in this game, which would eliminate Falcons. They can't have that. And then with a win from Fnatic versus Ducks, what does that put them in terms of their final placement? I know they'd be in the top 2.
Yeah. It's crazy. For Ducks as well, this is a very important game for them. If they lose, I believe that's it. I think that is...
Well, it's a problem because they also came into today, remember, in 2nd place.
Yeah, oh, sorry, if they don't win, sorry, I think that's it. I don't know if a draw is enough because Fnatic still have a game to play. This is Ducks' last game, and it's against
so we have
Fnatic.
2 must-win scenarios.
Yeah.
That's why I told you Game 4 is where it gets critical. A lot of space to work with here from Pele. Zezinho.
Oh, just an incredible speed boost.
Can you find the extra pass? Oh, look at the shimmy and the shake.
Oh.
I love what he's going for. Maybe in the air. Maybe a little back post lob. And in the other match, we have an update. Now, is it for Ducks? Is it for Fnatic? You've got Mbappe. What a pass. What a finish. Goalkeeper does not react.
Oh, look at Tekkz, stone cold. Doesn't even
celebration.
blink.
And that almost solidifies. I'm not sure if it's mathematically possible or not at the moment for Fnatic to
if they
not move forward because they also have the tiebreaker at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, they are still with a game to play.
Someone in the back help us with the permutations.
They still have a game to play, even if they don't win this game. But as it stands, they'll be through. You can see it in the top right there.
Wow, you're right. Ducks, no games left. They have to get a win here.
Yeah.
And now they're in the most inopportune situation as you see another pause queued. And we're going to review. And this is where you're looking at some of the best players who can outthink who. I've been part of this for the Tuga matchups, the Andoni matchups, even when they're playing as individuals. The same with Msdossary, even Goatmoh, where they go back and forth. Pause, shift the formation. Pause, try to throw off the rhythm of your opponent. Pause, we're going to change
the momentum of it.
You name it. It's a real thing. There's almost a mental side as well.
It is.
You've been in that chair many times. I've also chaired that chair. And sometimes I'm going through 3, 4 pauses, and I'm just sitting here saying, I just want to play.
Yeah, yeah. 12 points, though, for Fnatic and Riders. Ducks with 9, Falcons 7, Atlanta at the bottom with 6 points.
Wow.
Complete turnaround for Fnatic. They deserved to be in this position, but again, it is...
Let's do some updating. Let's do some updating here, because you're right. If Ducks loses, they're out.
Yep.
If Falcons can get a win here, they're absolutely in, though.
They're in this, yeah, if they can get a win.
A lot of space. Can you take it off him? Not quite. That was the first major mistake I think we've seen in this matchup. Oh, second one. Mbappe.
Oh, great bit of skill, and it was cleared out just there for Riders. Now we're approaching the time where maybe you could look to change something, maybe go press after possession loss. You see the amount of bodies that are pushing forward to try and close the angles.
You can already feel the adjustment a little bit. Where some of those double teams, they've made their adjustments, their changes. You're going to see a lot more pressure play here from Msdossary and Goatmoh. You can just see that the way that they're looking to press. And then if you're on the other end, I'm sure Tuga and Andoni have been informed. If it's open, let's go for it. Otherwise, swinging it side to side. Yeah. They're going to take their time. There's not a more experienced duo, again, individually or as a collective, that's better at game management.
Even in 1v1s, we've seen them keep possession very, very well. They've transitioned it well as a duo into the 2v2 format. They have their coach behind them as well, so they are aware of, oh my goodness, what a ball that could have been. They're aware of the situation that they are in, so I think they'll be happy to honestly keep the ball, but they've given it away.
Oh, what a read! I thought he was going to pull it back, kind of made that look, had that quick hesitation, and then went into the step over. It's just trying to outthink your opponent, but you can see they're probing here. Msdossary and Goatmoh are getting closer and closer to that real big chance.
Yeah, just dwindling on possession. Or dwelling on the ball for too long there, Wizard, and they've got the ball back though. Can they push forward the last 20 minutes? They need a goal to give them a chance to progress into the knockouts.
I'd like to see him be a little more direct. It's got to be said.
Great tackle there to stop the potential L1-0 over the top. There could be a counter-attack on, but it's intercepted.
Pele into space, takes it off the defender. A lot of space to work with. Trivela taken way too early, and Donnarumma looked like he was manually moved back
it was
as well.
Great movement there. You have to be aware of those angles because a lot of people potentially ball roll into a Trivela. They shoot Trivela straight away if you have, well, you don't even need to have the outside of the shot trait for those angles, but it's always efficient to move the goalkeeper. Anytime there's an angle that could open up for it, you have to move the keeper at this level.
You see another pause queued. We're going to be seeing last substitutions to go with the constant press has to be incoming.
Yep. As we say, I think Riders are content with this. They know that they are still in second position, joint first with Fnatic, but they'll take their chances and go into the last game knowing that they could win that to push into the first spot. But the main aim for them is just to solidify a spot into the knockout stages. And if it stays like this, they definitely will have that secure. There's a run there from Mbappe.
Step inside, little skill move, needs the extra pass, cancellation. And that's what we're talking about with those skills. Trying to bait a mistake, it didn't quite happen. They didn't read it properly. They really need that pause.
Yeah, they do. Great defending, though, you have to say. Fantastic defending from Riders.
Is that the finish? Early slide, extra pass, Pele with the turn. Hey, and you hear the eruption, top corner, near post. A lot of hesitation. I was just going to say, as you commit more bodies to the attack, commit more bodies to the pressure play, it opens up lanes and they capitalize. And Riders haven't had as many chances, but they haven't needed to be. They were clinical at the right time. They stuck to the game plan.
Yeah, that is a huge goal for Riders. Tuga and Andoni. That should put them in, or will put them in first place in the group stage. I thought the chance was gone there. There was a bit of unfortunate dribbling there with R9, but of course there's been a goal in the other game, Mike.
And we have an update. Do we have a comeback on the cards? Is that possible? Ooh. It's a beautiful
time.
Beautiful cross. And it is 2-1. It's just a matter of how much time they have left. But again, a draw is not enough. Nope, they really need 2 more goals. And we're starting to get into the late stages here. This is also an elimination type of finish as well. When you're dealing with Riders sending home Falcons. And as an update, that goal that we just saw is not going to matter. The Fnatic game is finished.
that is it, right? That's it.
Ducks has to be going home at this point. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
mathematical equation again.
Yeah.
I know that I didn't do that well in school, but you see 14 on Riders as it stands. Either way, Falcons need to win here. There's not enough time.
Yep,
I don't think you can shift anything.
Yeah.
And then Fnatic, again, they put themselves into a position. What a day they've had.
Yeah,
they came into this talking about being at the
Huge
bottom.
day. Yeah, they've turned it around. You have to give huge congratulations to Fnatic. Tekkz and Diogo have done enough to secure themselves a spot into the knockout stages of the EA Sports Cup. 12 points now, sat in second place. Riders with 14, Ducks with 9. No games left to play. Atlanta and Falcons join on 6 with, of course, a game left, but it still won't mean anything.
Maybe we can see something here. Make the last 4 or 5 minutes interesting.
Ooh, that could have been it. That was it. That was the chance there to try and get a goal. And as we said earlier, Riders are genuinely the worst team to play against when they are winning 1-0. They genuinely can keep the ball. I don't know how they do it, but they just rarely ever give up possession. If they do give up, it's areas like this where it's in the opposition's half. They're not really under threat from a direct pass into goal.
A lot of space to work with. Outside, Vinicius looking for the extra pass. Can you find the extra pass? Not quite. Lucio with the clearance. Surely Janola's winning that.
Yeah.
That's why you bring on Holland as well, late game. He just wins so many strange 50-50s or long balls.
Yeah, exactly. His physicality, his pace, his power. And that is the win for Riders. Tuga and Andoni advance into the knockout stages. We say a goodbye to Team Falcons. Goatmoh, and of course, the king of the jungle, Msdossary, eliminated in the group stages.
And you give him a hand clap, and it's got to be said, what happened here is, in the previous games today, they had the chances to win.
Yeah.
They didn't capitalize.
Wasn't meant to be.
And that's why it came down to the wire against the best team. And right now, Tuga and Andoni, at least from my viewing, maybe we could say a little bit about focus and Dylan Mike and how impressive they've looked.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this is the team.
Yeah, they're the strongest team coming into it on paper based on their accomplishments from last year. You could say themselves and Heretics are 2 of the top teams just because they won the 2v2 Cups last year. You can see how much it means to them as well, the celebrations when they score, so a massive result for them.
And what's always been so impressive with Riders is that they win the pretty games, but they also win a lot of the ugly games.
Exactly.
There wasn't that much happening in that matchup. They didn't create a bunch of chances. It wasn't a lot of free flow or fluidity, but we saw so many tactical shifts. And then when they got the chance, they got that big opportunity, they knew what to do with it. They took it, they celebrated it, and now they're moving forward. They've guaranteed their slot.
Yep, you have to give credit as well to whether it's their decision or the coach behind them, making those choices in the game to change formation, the substitutes at the right time, pausing the game to take the momentum out of it, because you felt as if maybe if Falcons could get back into it, maybe gain some motivation that they could get back into it, but it wasn't meant to be.
And sometimes it's like that. And you got to give a lot of credit again to the coaching. We've been hearing about it back and forth, how important it is. And I know that Kyle at the moment is down there with Ducks. I'd like to hear what they have to say. Unfortunately, just being eliminated from the competition, but they had everything to play for today.
Yeah.
So Kyle, give us some updates on what's happening. What's going down in the pit?
Thank you, Mike and Ryan. Very difficult in these circumstances to chat to you guys. Zezinho, Neat from Ducks Gaming, eliminated from the competition due to that result just there. Zezinho, I'll come to you. First reaction to today's gameplay for yourselves?
I think tough one to digest first, because I think me and Neat, we were playing very good. I feel like we had chances to win all of the games today. Due to circumstances we can and we cannot control, we couldn't, and that's why we're out. But so very tough to digest this one.
Looking at this group, everyone was saying that this was a very difficult group for anyone to get out of. As we've seen as well, Team Falcons won't be, Atlanta United won't be as well. 3 great groups in yourselves that aren't progressing through. I mean, it just shows how high the standard is in this competition.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't miss your opportunities. Today wasn't our lucky day at all, and we paid for that.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. I know it is difficult to do these sorts of interviews just here, especially, as I said, in these circumstances, so I do appreciate it. I can see right ahead of me, even though I'm looking in the camera, I can see ahead of me that actually, Rachel, you're joined by another member of Ducks Gaming, aren't you? So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. We've got Graveston, obviously, who's a part of that Ducks Gaming squad. Grav, tough day at the office for your boys, especially after listening to what they were just saying. It does come down to the smallest margins, especially in one leg of FIFA.
Yeah, obviously, but I think like both Fnatic and Riders deserve to win and deserve to go through today because they were the better teams. But yeah, I mean, it's always small margins, but I think the games we just saw, Fnatic were just better, and Tekkz played at a huge level right now.
What do you think you were lacking then?
I think we lacked a bit of experience as a pair, both Zezinho and Neto, because they played really good back at home, but it doesn't matter if you don't perform as well here. And I think pretty much both of them, because Zezinho, I've seen him play, he's really composed and he's really intelligent in the way he plays. I think he has a high IQ. And then Neto, in the game, his skills is just off the charts, the same as Tekkz. But I think I saw him like maybe not as confident here. And I don't know, he's young, he's 18 at the moment, so it's just a huge chance for him to keep competing, to be at the biggest stage, and next time he'll try again. But I think they're one of the best pairs in the game right now, best duos, and I'm proud of them as a Ducks player at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously be proud to get here and be one of the top 20 teams in the world as well. And like we just mentioned, they are a new partnership, so maybe just time needs to be on their side for them to get a little bit better. But we can look at the highlights now and just see how they got on in that last matchup again against Fnatic. Obviously Fnatic getting the win there, but there were moments of magic which could have gone their way.
Yeah, I think here Diogo was really composed with the left dribbling with Mbappe. Maybe they were a bit lucky with the rebound, but they were really good with Mbappe, that Diogo chance. And maybe, I don't know, here with the team press, but I think Fnatic deserved it. Don't you think so, Brandon?
I think so, and I think today they've brought a different level of performance, Grabs, and I think you're absolutely right. I was going to ask you, you've been on the sidelines today watching all the performances. Do you look back at that Falcons game and think we needed those 2 points there? Because that was, I think, such an interesting game, because you were on top for so long in that game. Yes, it swung and it changed, but then there was some huge chances in there. You look back on it, another day you pick up 3 points.
You obviously think it pretty much every single time, but you cannot think of past matches like this. If they bet Fnatic in this match, they would have gone through. So obviously you think about that match, but you just gotta think of the present, and they missed their chance.
What is next for Ducks?
I think the E-Club.
E-Club?
Yeah, E-Club. We're both playing, them and me and Adriman, so I mean, back at the game.
Back in the game. Okay, there was another matchup happening as well at the same time, of course, and that saw Movistar Riders get another 3 points as well to add to their tally against Team Falcons there. I mean, it's setting up a lovely top-of-the-table clash, isn't it, next up? But let's just go through these, Brannon.
No, absolutely. Again, the goal came really late into this game, and I mean, it's no surprise from what we saw in week 1 4 weeks ago. This is the team that will probably be topping the group depending on this last game. Andoni and Tuga, what a driving force they were last year, and just how good they are this year. You see the full-time results at the end of round 4. Riders top of the table. Obviously they've got 3 more points on the board, and Fnatic in at second. The group might be done, but it does set up nicely, Rachel, for our last round. Yeah, it sets up for a top of the table clash, doesn't it? Between these two, Riders and Fnatic, 14 points to 12. As it stands, that is the matchup we'll be focusing on next. It could all change, of course. Fnatic will be looking to top that table. It then sets them up against Group B. So the winner of Group C will play second in Group B. Maybe slightly easier, we don't know, because Group B may play in terms of who tops or comes second here. Tactics might come into play. But I guess, Grav, we want to know, Riders, are you seeing the same Riders as last year who won that Club World Championship, or are you seeing a better Riders this year?
I think we're seeing pretty much the same. Obviously, they might be better right now because they have been playing for more than a year. But I played in their group last year in the E-Club, so I matched up against them like 5 or 6 times. I think they're just such a good duo. Like, Tuga keeps the tacticness of the game. He's really sharp, and his IQ, like on the tactic side of it, is really high. And then Andoni with the left stick dribbling, with the R1, is really good. I think he has to step up his game in the last few years. So I'm looking forward to this last match because, I don't know, I think it's going to be total defense against total offense. And if Fnatic they have been talking for the past month like they are the best team at the world. So now is their chance to prove it.
Are you thinking they're the best team in the world?
No.
No? Okay, so he might be going Riders. I'm not going to put Brandon under pressure because he's casting this on after the break. It comes down to the top 2 in Group C. It's Movistar Riders taking on Fnatic. Who is going to finish top? Will it go down to a draw? I cannot wait to see how this one plays out. This final matchup in Group C is coming after this break.
Well, welcome back to the EA Sports Cup for the final time today here in Group C. The headlines are very simple, that it's going to be Riders and Fnatic going through. We've got Ryan Pessoa and, of course, Richard Buckley guiding us through this last and final matchup. But the storyline also is, gentlemen, that Fnatic are the only team that have beat Fnatic.
Fnatic are the only team to beat Fnatic?
Fnatic are the only team that beat Riders. There you go, second time lucky. That happened 4 weeks ago. Are we going to see it again? Because it will determine who tops this Group C.
It's very simple, isn't it? Whoever wins
tops.
Tops the group. I mean, if you are Riders, you want to finish the day strong. You want to finish the day on top. For Tekkz and Diogo, a win is the only thing that they can do. A draw doesn't really help both teams. This was a flashback to 4 weeks ago, Ryan, where we saw this outstanding free kick from Fnatic, and it was enough to get them the victory.
Yep, I remember. That was a free kick from Tekkz in that game. Previously saying that he doesn't really take free kicks direct, and of course the header there to get the 2-goal lead. This was the goal to get Riders back into it, but it wasn't meant to be. 2-1 victors for Fnatic up against Riders in that game.
Could you look back on that, though? It happened 4 weeks ago, but it was the first competitive match that anyone played in FIFA esports on FIFA 23. It was a long time ago that happened, but that will still be in their mind, won't it, Rich?
Well, do you remember we were stood on this stage right here, maybe a few inches to the left, and I said that maybe Riders aren't what they thought they were from the summer. That turned out to be completely false because they have been outstanding. They're top of the group at the moment. However, if there is a kryptonite to Riders' game, maybe it is in the form of the black and orange of Fnatic. Ryan, I want to ask you a very, very simple question. How impressed have you been specifically today by Fnatic? Because there's a few question marks over their performances, what we're going to expect from them. They've nearly been perfect today. They've been outstanding.
I didn't know what to expect coming into today. I'll be completely honest. I didn't know whether we're going to see the Fnatic that we know what they're capable of doing going forward. And defensively, they've shown in the first week that they weren't up to scratch to the levels that they hold themselves to. But today, they've been fantastic. They deserve to go through into the knockout stages. And yeah, it's been a great show from them.
And just to put you guys on the spot as well, any shocks for today, Rich, maybe? A team that you thought may have been in that top 2 conversation that just didn't get over the line today?
Ducks Gaming.
Yeah, it has to be Ducks Gaming. It has to be.
Yeah, we were both talking backstage, me and Ryan, got here nice and early, soaked in the atmosphere of the studio, and the question was about Ducks Gaming. We know they're good enough, and you heard Gravison talking about the quality just there of Ducks Gaming, but I don't want to sound like a sort of a repeating book, but I think they got really unlucky. I think some of the games that they had, couple of mistakes, and the ball just wasn't falling for them in their matches.
It's that first game. That Team Falcons game was probably the one that changed it all for them. As you said, the storyline in this group of death is we know the 2 teams that are going through, and it's these 2 teams on your screen. Msdossary, if you're a fan of him, he is out of the tournament alongside Goatmoh, his teammate. That's Team Falcons out. Atlanta United, Paulo, Neto and Young, they're out the competition. And, as we just said, Ducks Gaming, Neto and Zezinho out of the competition. There's no best third place here. It's just top 2 that go through to January.
A little bit of pride on the line at the moment. Obviously, next week you're going to be competing, Ryan. You might be in that position where you're playing the final game. You can't potentially mathematically go through, but you still want to win and not finish at the bottom of the table. No one wants to finish 5th in the history books. You want to be 3rd or 4th and looking as though you've ended the day strong.
Yeah, it's a tough one because they know that ultimately the game doesn't really mean anything for them. It's really hard to get yourself up for it, especially after coming out of a game or a couple of games where you felt as if you might have been the better team to get the results you need, and it just wasn't meant to be on the day for Ducks, for Atlanta United, and for Team Falcons. But for these 2 teams, they want to win because coming first, great bit of skill with the Elastico there from Riders. Coming first has implications on who you match in the knockout stages. I believe this group is in tangent with, it's the one with Red Bull Leipzig, I believe.
It is, yeah. Group B, I believe. Group C plays Group B, and Group A will play Group D in the knockout stages. So potentially looking at a Makers, maybe a Red Bull Leipzig, maybe a FUTWIZ game. That group as well still all completely open.
Here's Tekkz. On the opposite side for Fnatic now, dancing with R9 towards the box. Patient defending from a team that knows how to defend near enough perfectly. They were the 2v2 world champions last year in Copenhagen on FIFA 22. They have had question marks over them coming into this year. They have maybe had a bit of a hurdle back in game 1, week 1, but since then they've just been on their own mark. Speaking of in January then, gentlemen, and in terms of who they could be playing against, I mean, you're literally playing to what? Play second of that Group B, but who could be second of that Group B? It could be, as you said, it could be RB Leipzig, it could be Makers, could be Footwiz or Guild. It's not a nice team either way.
Could be blue. You never know.
You never know. 0 points at the moment for those guys.
Could be.
Yeah, it's no matter what position you play, what position you are, in the groups going into the knockouts, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be favourites, in my opinion. Group B has a lot of fantastic teams that they could come up against. So again, you're just trying to play for pride, and of course, just give yourself as much of a chance going into the knockouts.
Look at the feet. Somehow the ball just stuck to Mbappe there. It was a great piece of skill move. Yes, 1 or 2 times it may have been kind that the ball just fell back to the French forward. But the combinations were slick when they needed to be. And just like that, Riders will take the lead.
Maybe not what you necessarily associate with Riders as well. Yeah. They're known for their defensive capabilities and the way that they can see out games, but an outstanding bit of individual play there. Question for the both of you very quickly while we get back underway. This was the group of death. An hour ago, there was a situation where 4 teams could be on 8 points.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that now we're in round 5, it's already wrapped up?
Yes.
You're surprised. I was kind of anticipating, if I'm being completely honest. I felt as if Ducks and Riders could have run away with it, just based on their fixtures earlier on. So I believe it would have been those two to sort of have it cemented by now. I thought Ducks were, in my opinion, I wouldn't say underdogs, because they came into this, I believe, second in the group. But they were a team that I thought maybe they could push on a little bit more, show their skill sets, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Fnatic on the hunt for that equaliser now. Tekkz and Diogo trying to show off their flair on the edge of the box. There has been a goal in the other game. As we said, these teams are out, but you're right to say they are playing for pride. That goal has come the way of Atlanta United, who do not want to finish bottom of the pile there. They lead Team Falcons, Msdossary's team, by 1-0.
Yeah, Torre with the finish as well. The brand new hero foot version of Yaya Torre. Good tackle there from Rude Hully. Are you watching, Ryan, potentially taking a few notes down? Capdevia in the squad. Yaya Torre, the improved version. We've seen Zidane used quite a bit. Is there some of these players potentially they're going to be creeping into the squad next week?
Yeah, I'd say, of course, to Capdevia and Yaya, potentially Lucio as well with his new World Cup hero item in the game. Capdevia, for me, is sort of like a blessing. We've been looking for a left back, to be honest, to slot into our team.
By the content of that one.
Just sort of waiting patiently for him to be released into Ultimate Team. So, of course, he'll be an option to slot in perfectly at left back. So, yeah, I'd say him and Yaya Toure we didn't start with. He was someone that you brought off of the bench. But, again, with his huge, in my opinion, it's a massive upgrade of the way he plays and his attribute upgrade. So, he's somebody that should feature in our squad.
Fnatic, you can tell both these two teams are qualified in moments. How patient they are being. Diogo, one more pass, finds Tekkz. Tries to outsmart Lucio. There has been a goal in the other game, as we said. Team Falcons taking on Atlanta. Which way has it gone? And it looks as if it's going to be a bit of a miserable journey back to Saudi Arabia for Team Falcons. They lead, well, they are 2-0 down against Atlanta United. That's not been, you could argue, a great two seasons for Msdossary. It wasn't a great year last year in that Team of the Season Cup where they were invited to, and unfortunately, it's going to be another group stage exit this time round.
I think for Team Falcons today, I think we've all had an opportunity to look at their games and sort of cast our eye over it. They've had moments where it could have turned their way,
exactly.
and the tournament could have swayed for them. But it seems in all those small moments and all those small margins have gone against them. You can see that as it stands table right there. Riders top of the pile, 17 out of 24 points accumulated. Fnatic on 12, and then the other 3 teams being Ducks Gaming, Atlanta United, and Team Falcons going out.
It does help set the, I guess you could say, the pace or the point margin of what we could expect to see in future weeks. I think the one thing that was different about this group is that the team that were bottom were on 4 points coming into today. A lot of the other groups, 2 teams are on 0 points, and then there's another one on 2.
Yeah.
The gap is a lot bigger between first to bottom.
Been I think it is the tightest group we do have based on first to fifth in terms of points.
I think in the other groups, though, and I'm sure we'll look at them at the end of the play today, your group in particular, right, and yes, you've got that team at the top, but then the other 4 teams is the 2 points.
Yeah, it's a 2-point gap between.
Fifth from second, so yes, you might not be fighting for top spot as they were in this group, but you are fighting for second, and in all those other groups, the distance between second and fourth or second and fifth is really, really close.
And I can assure you the teams in Group B will be watching from home right now thinking, right, where do we need to finish to maybe avoid one of these two teams in the knockouts? As we said, both of them are guaranteed to be going through to the knockout stages here at the EA Sports Cup. They'll be taking place, as we said, at the start of next year in this $250,000 FIFA tournament. Riders still do lead Fnatic, as Fnatic are on the hunt for an equaliser back in this game. Remember that Fnatic have to win if they wish to take top spot here. A draw won't be enough. Back to goal. Here's Tekkz now, that captain of this Fnatic team. I stepped up today. There was 2 big goals he did score earlier. That Trivela from the edge of the box was needed in their opening tie in round 2, where they were able to take down Atlanta by 2-0.
And what do you put the Tekkz and Diogo Fnatic, I don't say revival, but better performance from? Is it just more practice? Are they more comfortable with the game? You've been on the sort of the ground playing in these 2v2 matches and the practice games. Have you seen a notable improvement? Chance here for Mbappe, good save from goalkeeper.
The thing is I felt as if they played well in the first week. I don't feel as if they
underperformed.
Yeah, I don't think they underperformed. I think maybe you could say offensively they didn't offer as much as they would have liked to, but I felt like they were in all of the games that they played, and I felt as if they were sort of unlucky to draw a few of their games. So for me, it was kind of just hoping that if they can perform to the level that they did and even better, you'd expect the results to come their way. Of course, they have to rely on other results as well, but they've done enough to progress into the knockouts.
I think you're probably right on that. You know, what, 5 points from 12 wasn't the shiniest of performances 4 weeks ago, but you're right, they've probably worked on that one area of their game, and that's offensively.
Yeah, exactly. They've scored a lot more goals, or they've scored goals in important stages of the game, so it's like, it's very difficult for them to end up in a situation where they could lose.
Riders could be on for a second here. One more pass finds Hullet. Still just about alive as we come off the gameplay there, jump back in. Capdevia showing what he can do from the left-hand side, wins a corner.
I felt like they could have scored that. I felt as if maybe they waited in case Fnatic bit with a challenge in the box there. 3, 4, 2, 1.
Yarrow, I like to call it, from the Riders.
I believe maybe they're just testing out different things to see how it works against other opposition and other formations, maybe.
Well, it's typically more an offensive formation. As you can see, Enzo on the screen there. He's unfortunately not been able to master a game plan of success today. Still behind Msdossary.
I think if you cast back there, Rich, as you said, to moments where...
It's been small margins.
It just didn't fall. That Van der Sar performance, it was there for both teams, to be honest. But in that first game of today, that 1-1 draw for Ducks and Falcons, which, to be honest, did no one any favours with the draw in that game. But there's moments where Van der Sar just pulled out these ridiculous saves. Another day, that one might just go in.
I'm just looking at the table now as well. 4 out of the 5 teams, everyone bar Riders, Fnatic, Ducks Gaming, Atlanta United and Team Falcons, as it currently stands, just drawn too many games. 3 draws each. That's points dropped in a number of those matches as well, where they've been potentially in a winning position or looking to get all 3 points and conceding a late goal or not being able to convert. And those draws do add up.
Yeah, they do. And of course, it depends on the situation. There are draws where it's in a favourable position where you might potentially have been dominated in that game. You could escape with a point and you stop your opponents from gaining the full 3 points. But again, there are some stages where you've conceded late on in a game, which is a tough result to take, because again, we know how important winning in these situations are, because as we've seen, a lot of teams are drawing. So if you can get the extra 3 points or the extra 2 points instead of a draw, it could be just enough to put you through.
Let's check over to the other game. As we said, it's a consolation game between Team Falcons and Atlanta. There's been a few goals here. Atlanta look like they've gone 3-1 up. Oh, somehow. Second time I've asked him. Vieira just couldn't do enough, apparently, there. And then there was a mistake at the back. Msdossary there in control. Does score, makes it 3-2. That one has got 12 minutes or so left in the game. What I want to do just very quickly is ask those that are watching at home a question, maybe to you guys as well. Who do you think is going to go further in this EA Sports Cup? Fnatic or Riders? If you gents want to go on the spot and give me an answer.
Comment.
I'll be very political. I think it's very dependent on how the bracket lines up. We know that it's going to be one of those teams from Group B. However, I'll also throw another point in, which is very much sitting on the fence. Could be playing a completely different game.
Yeah,
January.
exactly, yeah.
It's a long time. We've got, I mean, what is it today? November 14th.
2 months?
2 months pretty much bang on. January 16th when those quarterfinals will roll round. So we've got a long time between qualifying today and the knockouts in 2 months. A lot can change.
Yep, exactly. But again,
are you going to give me an answer, Ryan? Are you going to say a team?
I'm just going to say it's very hard to go against Riders.
Well, there you go.
To me, I just can't. They're on 17 points. They've lost one game in the group of death that we said it was. One game.
What about you, Brandon?
Probably shouldn't have asked the question, really, should I?
I'll give you a better question.
You know what? I'll say Riders as well.
Do you think either of these two teams right now go on and win?
They can, yeah. Anyone in competition that it's political. It's political, but it's like
the fact. Speaking of the Twitch chat, very quickly, Fnatic getting a lot of the votes, and I think they have impressed a lot of people with their performance today.
No, they certainly have, and I think it's shown that other side of the game, the side of the game where they've been resilient.
Yeah.
In previous tournaments, they might have underperformed to their expected level. A top 6, a top 8 finish, where going into it, they are projected as the favourites, or at least a top 2, a top 3 side. Here, they've done what they needed to do. They've done the job.
And let's not forget, also, last season, this chance comes in for Fnatic defender well. They might not have won any silverware last year, Fnatic in a 2v2 environment, but what, 2 top 8 finishes across the 2 majors last year, TOTS Cup, and of course the E-Club World Cup, both at LAN in different places, one in London, one in Denmark. There is a hunger there. They've described themselves as the best 2v2 duo. This could be their year to try and back that up with a trophy. They will be in a top 8 again, guaranteed, in this EA Sports Cup, because they will be going through from the group of death. Last 7 minutes remaining in this one as Tekkz fancies another Trivella with Pele. That one just going over the bar.
Yep. Those angles are dangerous with the Trivellas. It's sort of an angle where you wouldn't necessarily think if it's on target it could go in, but you just have to be wary. You have to move the goalkeeper. We saw how important that Trivella was from Tekkz in their first game today, because I believe if that didn't go in, it could have been a very different game, because it was very cagey and very even.
Are you looking at time finishing that Trivella from that angle, or do you not need to? Chance! What a save from Donnarumma again.
You can, but the thing is, I don't necessarily think you have to.
Okay.
I don't think you have to green time from that angle. We see the pause queued in there. I believe it was from Riders. Maybe they had a player out of position. Looked as if they had Maldini in right wing back by accident, but they've changed that.
Job.
Yeah, they've changed that now. They'll be looking to see it out. Of course, they still, even if they do concede from this corner, they are still in top position in this group.
Yeah, look, I mean, Fnatic would have to score 2 goals. A draw even isn't enough to send them top. I think they know that the final 4 minutes, 5 minutes is sort of a result that doesn't hamper their tournament either way.
Yeah.
It'll be very much a quickly forgotten about result as well. Win, draw, or lose. Corner whipped into the box, doesn't fall for anyone in the end there.
Oh, that's unlucky. And look at Haaland powering through as well. He's going to get on the end of it.
Oh, what feet.
Can they find their way through Eusebio? Riders looking for a second cutback available. Haaland's on the pitch. Unfortunately,
where he struggles.
Can't make his impact. Rumours of him going to
high pressing.
On a loan move, wasn't it today? Doubt that'll be happening.
It's great feet there from.
Wow. It's Andoni, I believe it is. Still with Haaland. He's got the skills.
Oh.
Added time of 1 minute. That will do us in Group C, and we can confirm that both of these two teams will be on the way to knock out FIFA in the EA Sports Cup. It will be more excitement though for this team on your screen in Movistar Riders. They topped the group. A really impressive performance, winning 1-0, but more importantly, getting that revenge on Fnatic from 4 weeks ago. They would have not forgotten about.
Yeah, definitely, Dave. We did deserve victors in this game. 1-0 up against Fnatic, Tekkz, and Diogo. As I said, they topped the group with 17 points. Yeah, it's been a resounding 2 weeks from them.
And also, what can we expect them to say in 4 weeks?
I think you're going to see a really, really solid performance when we watch these two back in January. I think all the other teams that do qualify, especially in Group B, are casting a really, really watchful eye over this group, because, and now the two sides who have progressed through to the knockouts, you're a professional player. I'll ask you myself. I was going to hypothesize, but I'll ask you, Ryan. If you were to say, pick me 2 sides that you don't want to face in the knockouts, towards the top of the list would be Riders and Fnatic.
Of course, exactly. So that's the thing. When you're in Group B, as you said, that's the group they'll be matching up against. You're kind of just playing regardless of who your opponent will be. There's no actual favourable matchup, in my opinion. I just think, again, either one of these teams could go the distance. So, yeah.
Well, as we said, we've spoken about 2 teams that have gone through. Congratulations to Movistar Riders and Fnatic. But the big headline is that Msdossary has crashed out the tournament with his teammate Goatmoh of Team Falcons, and they're joined right now by Carl Walker.
Brandon, Richard, Ryan, thank you so much. I am joined by both members of Team Falcons. Dossary, I'll come to you first. Difficult to take, tough pill to swallow with this one. We've just seen the 2 teams that are going through playing against each other. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I think speechless, to be honest. In a way or another, I'm not going to say we deserved more, but I'm not a fan of the format best of 1, and I'm not a fan of playing a game and then the second game will be in 3 weeks. It's not a real football game, and 90 minutes is not enough. So unfortunately, we have to play Riders. Against us. A draw was the guarantee to make it off. So at this point, you have to just be playing all in. Even Fnatic, last 15 minutes, they went to 5 at the back to just defend. So sometimes it's not in your hands. Even Ducks games, we deserve to win. But, I mean, no excuse. We need to perform better here and there. But I'm not a fan of best of 1 format or playing a game and coming back in another 3 weeks. And I don't think any of the players disagree with that.
Goatmoh, looking at the performances today, how would you sum it up? How are you feeling?
I think we played good, so I'm okay with a lot of chance we do, so it's okay. That's it.
Yes, of course. So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's good to chat to you, and I'm glad that you have stayed around to chat because, as you've seen over the last few weeks, we've seen so many great competitors going head-to-head. This was a difficult group, let's be completely honest, Dossary, and you see plenty of the players that are going home, yourselves, Atlanta United, Ducks as well, incredible players within those 6 competitors just there. I mean, it shows the standard of the esport right now and just how good everyone really is.
No, I completely agree. I think our group is a group of death, but for me, the goal is to be the best in the world. So there is no excuse that we have the group of death and we just, we take it that we lost there or we didn't make it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us just here. Rachel and Mike, I know you guys have got some other guests as well, so I'll throw it across to you and we can close out tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Obviously, in FIFA eSports, there's always going to be some losers, but some winners as well. And these 2 guys we're going to see in January at the finals. Of course, it is Fnatic and Movistar Riders. So we'll chat to you guys in depth about exactly what you'll do in a couple of weeks' time in a bit. But should we go straight into the highlights of this matchup, where you guys came out on top in a pretty exciting last round matchup. Obviously, Movistar Riders topped that table in the end. Mike, boys, do you want to chat through how this one unfolded?
Yeah, it was a great goal. Probably the team which wasn't so good in the first week finishes first in the group. But we are happy. We conceded only 1 goal this match week. It was on penalty, and we are really proud of the performance.
I mean, Tekkz, I'll come to you after obviously you just heard from Tuga there. Last time out, you were struggling a little bit. It looked on the table in terms of you were 4th coming here. It looked like to everyone at home you'd changed things around and found a new look team, but you don't think that was the case?
No, we played the same. Like, we were way better last week than we were this week. Like, way better. We created so many more chances, but today, the chances we did create, we scored, and we barely conceded. But yeah, that last game I couldn't give a donkey about, to be honest. I'm just happy we won the
Oh yeah, Mike, sure.
That's how I feel too when I lose. I didn't care about that result as well. Speaking of, Rachel and I were talking earlier. We think that clearly you and Andoni have to be the favorites. And Tekkz has gone on record now with Fnatic also saying they're the best team. How do you feel about that deep down? Because you obviously come off winning. You cleared everything there. This year you're coming out first in the group. Is there a little bit of a response?
Yeah, I think that there's a bit respect from us because we are the world champions. We win the playoffs on Europe. We probably win the group of death for me, and I think it's not a pressure, but a little bit of respect for the knockout rounds because we are good. We prove once again that's probably we're the best team, but this doesn't prove anything if you don't come up and step up on the knockout stage.
Tekkz, are they still playing boring football?
You know how it is. Do you think they play boring football?
That wasn't the question. I threw the question at you, not for me to answer. Okay, let's just clear up exactly what happened then, shall we? At the end of that round 5, the end of Group C, Riders coming out on top. Well, maybe they weren't so boring that time out. 1-0 in the end over Fnatic. And then, of course, we know what happened in that other group as well. Obviously, Atlanta getting the win over Falcons 3-2 there. And this is a summary of Group C. Riders topping the group of death with 17 points. Fnatic in second, also going through with 12 points. And it was Ducks, Atlanta and Team Falcons. Only 2, of course, go through to those finals in January, which we cannot wait for, of course. And I guess, guys, it's going to be pretty exciting because it's Group B you guys are up against as well, which we saw last time out. That group is also stacked. You've got the likes of RB Leipzig, you've got Makers, you've got Blue United, you've got Footwiz, and you have Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's a stacked group. Is there anyone, I'll ask you first, Tekkz, that you really don't want to come up against?
Not really. I think people say they don't want to play Leipzig, but that's the game that people want to see, is Leipzig versus Fnatic. So if it happens, it happens. And we'll be on our best A game, hopefully. So if that happens, Makers are really good as well, as are Footwiz. Blue United, not so much. And the other team, I forgot who it was, but yeah.
Well, and there were moments, too, that everyone looked beatable within that group. I know you guys have been analyzing a lot. I know that from your coaching staff, everybody's watching everything. What did you take away from that group, now that you're going to really focus on your potential oppositions?
Yeah, of course. We are right now. We need to analyze the next match week from the Group B to see who are you facing, how they play, their strengths, their weaknesses, and we'll study our best strategy that fits best for our gameplay on January.
I mean, currently it's Makers for you guys. Would that be a kind of matchup that you'd like to see?
Whoever comes, they aren't going to beat us. So let's see who we face, and hopefully we get the win to the semifinal.
Nobody cares at this level of FIFA. They're all excellent. They all just want to play whoever is in their path. Right, now let's move on to Goal of the Week. Mike Nobel picks this one. Mike, who have you got this week?
Well, we've got 5 goals of this week that we have to review and revisit. Both you guys will be on display in this. No spoilers, but Zezinho, a little of a Cruyff turn, extra pass made here. Pele steps through, cross the body, green time finish. It just sets the stage a little bit. And we saw a lot of these outside of the boot crosses. And it's a beautiful finish as well.
Did you like that one, Tekkz?
It was okay.
A little bit of a hesitation there, and then we're going to the Riders game here. You saw this once, let's see it again. Love the inclusion of the La Croqueta into a couple of the new skills and then the finish as well.
It's a really bad goal, that one.
And then we have another one of those Trivela crosses, and you see the finish from Mbappe, and then our goal of the day, and maybe most influential as well, the little side step there.
Cool, what a goal that is.
Trivela, top corner, best corner. It was maybe more about how quick it came out as well. You guys registered what happened, when it happened, and maybe Tekkz scored the goal, so he feels a certain type of way about it.
And I like the fact that he actually liked one of his goals as well. Yay! Tekkz actually liked one of his performances tonight. Tekkz, you have to enjoy it as well. Anyway, let's talk about next week. You guys don't have to face these just yet. This is what's happening next week. Ryan Pessoa is back in action with Man City Esports there with his teammate Shells. Unfortunately, they're currently sitting at the bottom of the table, so have a lot of work to do, but you've got the likes of Team Heretics, you've got Ajax, PSG, Man City, of course, and Focus, who are currently topping that table. Guys, out of Group D, obviously Focus are topping the table. Who has most impressed you? Tuga, I'll come to you first.
For me, of all the 4 groups, it was Focus. They didn't lose a game. They played really well. Some from Dulan, some really good skills. From Musty as well. I think they are playing a good FIFA. Let's see if they can keep up.
Man City, got a lot of work to do, but can they do it?
Oh, no, I think it's over for Man City.
But where's Ryan at?
I heard Focus are really good, so, and Dolomite sourcing people, so I will be watching his games from the other week, and I will be copying them a little bit. So Dolomite, I'll be watching you.
Oh.
Shout out to Dolomite. I think he's been the best with the skill moves thus far in the final third.
I mean, Focus have been a team to watch, as have you two, of course. Fnatic and Movistar Riders going through to those finals in January. We have to wait and see the other 6 teams who join them over the course of the next 3 weeks. Congratulations, both of you. Mike, thanks as always for joining us, and to our casters as well, and to Carl for doing all the interviews. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us at home. Come back and join us same time, same place next week when we get to see Group D in action and find out our next 2 competitors who'll be going through to those finals in January. Alrighty, guys. Can I have a fist bump too? There you go. They're leaving me out there. Right, guys. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.